Thank you, Kara. I will now call the hearing to order. Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. This morning I will be chairing the hearing. My name is Robert Hutchings. On my direct left is Ms. Rempel. On my far left is Ms. Davidson. Our assessor today is Mr. Idarkanoff. And our secretary today is Ms. Balshaw. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by this Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed further to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by cross-examination by the applicant first, and then the panel members, and then the applicant's testimony, followed by cross-examination by the assessor first, and then the panel members. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions based on evidence presented here today. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And can everybody please make sure their cell phones are on complete silence before we begin. And also, we've got quite a group of applicants here this morning, so we're going to be here a little while probably. So if you have any parking issues or anything, don't hesitate to go out and plug the meter or add it by your app or whatever. But you won't lose your place in the docket, okay? Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Yeah. So I've got 227 Hindley Avenue. I understand there's a.
I'll just swear.
Yeah, sorry, swear the assessor in. And 227.
Please state your name.
Ms. Clausen, would you like to come
Do
forward,
you affirm the
please?
evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Yeah. And if you wish to go outside, or you're on last on the docket, I believe, so, okay.
Okay, thanks.
We'll see you in a while.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
She's just gonna accept it, so I'm gonna just swear her in.
Yeah, I should swear.
Will you swear in or affirm today? Please state your name. Travis Clausen. Do you affirm the evidence you will present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Clausen.
Hi.
Hello. Arca, so I understand we're doing 227 Hindley Avenue, and we've got a recommendation. We are on item number 10. Number 10.
Sorry?
Item number 10, 227 Hindley Avenue. There's a recommendation on the property.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So, for parcel ID 0.
Would you mind detailing the roll number and a quick summary of why you've made that recommendation and what it is, please?
So for the parcel ID 003164000, street address 227 Hindley Avenue, there is a recommendation to reduce 2020 assessment from $423,000 to $380,000 based on the condition of the property and April, actually there is a correction, it says April 2016, it should be April 2018 market, please update that on your records. Based on April 1, 2018 market, property has been inspected by my colleague, and So condition of the property is therefore reflected in the recommended assessed value.
Okay. And Ms. Clausen, you're aware of the recommendation now and you accept it?
Yes.
Okay, so to confirm, assessment original was $423,000. To reflect the structural or physical condition of the property and its effect on market value, the assessor's revising the assessment, recommending a revision to $380,000. Okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Leave it with us and hear from us as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Got that, Kara?
Yep.
Okay. You can leave if you wish.
I've never attended one of these
Oh,
meetings
okay,
before,
sure.
so I am actually.
Or you can stay if you wish.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Your civics lesson for the day.
That's right.
Okay, first property on the docket, or I guess second, is 821 St. Joseph Street, represented by Altus Group. Sir, come forward. We're doing item number 4, 821 St. Joseph Street.
Do you swear in or affirm?
Swear.
Please state your name.
Ryan Oliveros.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Oh, of course. Yes, I need to just review your
The assessor already has.
Okay.
It's just the.
journals copies on file. Thank you.
Thanks, Kara. We've got letter of authorization.
We do.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay. We're dealing with 821 St. Joseph Street. We're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. No other issues, so Mr. Arca, when you are ready, please.
The subject property was a roll number 0606012000 821 St. Joseph Street in North St. Boniface neighborhood. Is a one-story single dwelling, 1946 year build, same year effective age. 1,397 square feet of living area with a full basement, no basement finish, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom. No central air conditioner, no fireplace, no detached structure such as garage. Assessed lot size 4,944 square feet. Land influences, external corner, park and rail line. Assessment roll for 2020 is $195,000 or $139.58 per square foot. For the 4 comparables, we have comparable 1, 227 The Morning Street in North St. Boniface, 1.5 story single dwelling, 1934 year built, same year effective age, 1,422 square feet of living area, park, basement, no basement finish, 1 full bath, 1 half bath, detached single car garage, 4,038 square feet of lot size, commercial adjacent as a land influence, time adjusted sale price $198,700, time adjusted sale price per square foot $139.73, sold in October of 2016. Comparable to is 483 Notre Dame Street in North St. Boniface, 1.5 story single dwelling, 1951 year built, same year effective age, 1,325 square feet of living area, full basement with a basement finish, 1 full bath, central air conditioner, fireplace and detached multi-car garage, 6,118 square feet for lot size. External corner, time adjusted sale price $275,900. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $208.23. Sold in June of 2016. Comparable street is 224 Albert Street. North St. Boniface, one-story single dwelling, 1983 year built, same year effective age, 1,820 square feet of living area, full part area, full basement, basement finish, one full bathroom, two full bathroom, one shower, central air conditioner, detached multi-car garage, 8,074 square feet for lot size, bus road, commercial adjacent and light traffic are influences, $449,200 time adjusted sale price, $246.81 time adjusted sale price per square foot, sold in July of 2016. Comparable for is 558 Bourgeois Street, Central St. Boniface, one-story single dwelling, 1910 year build, 1925 effective age, 824 square feet of living area, full part area with a basement finish, one full bathroom, one half bathroom, and one shower. Detached car garage, 5,397 square feet of lot size, commercial adjacent, internal corner, and the rail line. Time adjusted sale price $172,200. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $208.98. Sold in October of 2017. There is a bit more information about subject property. As you can see on the map, subject property is located in North St. Boniface neighborhood, right next to the rail line. So it's right north of the rail line and right east of the park.
Arca, would you mind pointing out the rail line on the map, please?
Rail line would be that gray line, probably highlighted on my map and pass it out. Or if we look at the evidence presented by the assessor, it's probably more visible, by the appellant, that it's more visible on this page.
So if we're looking here, side view, where would the rail line be?
I highlighted on my page, I can pass it around.
Okay, okay. So that, all right, okay. Sorry to interrupt. And that is that's the CN main line, is that right, the high track there?
Yes.
Am I correct? Yeah.
That's the hot line, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Okay, so where are we? So, yeah, so it's right in the motion of the rail line. Therefore, but it's also, the part of the area where such property is located is probably the prime location within North St. Boniface. Because three properties north of subject property, you get into new infills that have been built in the past 5 to 10 years, and they are modern and high value properties. So subject property suffers with a bit of potential setback regulations due to the rail line. It is zoned M2.
Oh, okay.
So current use is residential non-conforming. So it is a single family dwelling, non-conforming use.
Sorry, Arca, do you mind repeating that? All I heard were the sirens behind me, I apologize.
Okay. So current use per zoning is residential non-conforming.
Okay, alright, thank you.
Subject property has been inspected, does appear to be below average condition based on exterior observations.
Okay.
It is rented, so it does meet some minimal, at least minimal requirements to be considered a habitable dwelling. So based on that, given the principles of progression, that subject property is probably is inferior to be within its neighborhood, but is being in a superior location compared to other parts of St. Boniface, and having current use as residential property in a prime location. Assessment and taxation believes that the value for the property should be $195,000.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does the appellant have any questions of the assessor's evidence presented so far?
I do, thank you. Mr. Darkanoff, you had stated that the property, or sorry, the subject property is a prime location, is that correct?
I stated that it is, the location is prime within the neighborhood where the property is located. Is superior to, I would consider to be superior location to other areas of North St. Boniface, so the closer you get to provincial, it's probably would be less, like that neighborhood there north of the tracks is more desirable than neighborhood south of the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I would agree with you that it is in a superior location in comparison to the other side of the High Line, correct? However, did you consider the fact that with the industrial zoning on the property, that's not exactly a fit to what the neighborhood area is sort of going towards? I know I'm not on my brief yet, but the North St. Boniface secondary plan, it states that here, industrial uses would not be permitted. So I would say it's likely, should this should there be an application for a zoning variance, this would trigger the setback requirements. And that High Line is
Maybe,
sorry.
can you put it in a question, please?
Oh.
If the assessor's aware of what you're,
Okay,
it's kind of, you're kind of going into your evidence here, but if you wouldn't mind asking him in a question form whether he's aware
okay,
of a restriction like that.
okay, I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so are you aware of the recommended setback requirements for High Lines?
I am aware of the setback requirements.
Or recommendations, I should say.
Well, I'm aware that there are setback requirements. I unfortunately didn't have enough time to get enough information about it, but from information I got from property plan and development, there is a 92-foot setbacks requirements for habitable rooms for residential uses. So that's information I got from property plan and development.
Are you aware that should there be an application for a zoning variance to possibly get this property zoned to a residential zoning, that would trigger the setback requirements?
Excuse me, could you please repeat the question?
Yes, so are you aware that should there be a change in the zoning for this property, either through application, are you aware that the setback recommendations would then trigger that?
I cannot comment at this point. I did not get a chance to talk to zoning department as far as what's all required to do, what's all required to rezone the property. I did mention that the current use is residential non-conforming, so the property can stay residential in that shape as long as it can stay in that shape, correct?
Are you aware that should the setback recommendations be applied, that it would eat up most of the lot? The setback requirements for this property is 30 meters from the High Line, so are you aware of these setback recommendations, that it would take up most of the lot?
Okay. Well, there are setback recommendations, and I would agree with you. I don't know exactly whether it's most of the lot or part of the lot. I agree that the setback requirements do apply to it. I did not do the survey to measure it. However, I'll stress it again, current use is non-residential non-conforming, and it does not conflict with requirements. Those requirements only take effect once the property is demolished, correct?
That's correct, yes. Okay, so would you say that this property conforms to the character of the neighborhood area?
It is, well, a lot of neighborhood is being redeveloped, especially in the part of the St. Boniface north of the High Line track. is being redeveloped with new infill houses. There are still a couple of older houses, but obviously it is inferior to the mansions that we built right right north of it.
Okay. And you would agree, and you, okay, so, sorry, no one asked that. Okay. All right, now moving on to your comparisons. I want to direct your attention to comparables number 1 and number 2. They're 1.5-story dwelling. They're 1.5-story homes in comparison to the subject property that's a 1-story home. Would you agree that a 1.5 story is comparable to a 1-story?
I agree that ideally they should have been 1-story, but the subject property again is larger. 1-story home. Usually 1-story homes in St. Boniface or in North St. Boniface are much smaller than 1,397 square feet.
Okay. And did you make the proper adjustments to account for that difference at all?
At this point, the information is presented the way it is. I did not make any adjustments in differentiation between 1-story and 1.5 story.
And just to confirm, you did say that the property is in below average condition, correct?
Correct.
Okay. No further questions.
Thank you, sir. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
I have a question for clarification. So this is currently, you said, used as residential, it's classified residential non-conforming.
Correct.
So does that mean, I'm not sure I heard this or not, if the house is demolished, it reverts back to a different, you can't continue it as residential without a variance?
Correct.
Okay, so then if it were demolished, that it would have to go to a variance, and they may or may not obviously get the variance.
Correct.
Okay, so then my other question is, it sounds like the house is in poor condition from what I'm hearing generally. So is the assessment essentially based on the value of the land which you deem to be desirable given its location as residential?
Well, I would say that house is below average condition.
Yes.
I would still grade it up above 4. It is rentable, so that's qualified to. It does would have to meet certain minimal
And it
requirements
does.
for it to be habitable. So it is below average, but I wouldn't call it poor.
But is the majority of the assessment, I know you don't do it separately, but is the majority of the assessment falling to the land versus the building?
I cannot answer that at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Giselle, any questions of the
Yes,
assessor?
just a couple. I'm wondering if you could just confirm for me, you indicated that you inspected the property?
Yes, I did the exterior inspection.
The exterior?
Mhm.
Not interior?
Not interior.
Okay. And the only other question I have is, do you have any sales history on this property?
I don't think I do. Okay, sorry, I do. There is a 2012 sale for $135,000.
Those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Arca, follow up to that question. When was that sale? When did that sale occur?
Well, I have it as October 25th, 2012.
October 2012. Okay, at 135,000.
Correct.
Okay. And as far as you know, that's an arm's length sale.
Let's see. Actually, no, it would not be an arm's length sale. It was.
Was there a multi-role thing going along on that street and across the street?
Well, I cannot specifically say whether this particular property was part of the multi-role sale or not,
Okay.
but it was purchased from the city by Qualico in 2012.
Okay. So City of Winnipeg to Qualico, okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna look at the subject property here. So we've got three influences. We've got a corner, we've got the rail line, of course, and we've got a park. So the park is it across the street, kitty corner?
Yes.
Okay, so those used to be houses, but I think they demolished them all, is that right? And they turned it into a park? I'm not sure if you noticed. It is parkland now, though.
It is
owned by the city.
When I
Winnipeg.
saw today, I'm not sure of the details behind it.
Okay. So my understanding is in its current use, as long as it's, as long as there's no application to revise the use, we're assessing it as a residential, single-family dwelling.
Correct.
Okay. And it's currently rented out as far as you know?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll find out what that is from the appellant. And the lot size, we had a discussion about setbacks and that. We've got 49, so it's probably approximately 50 by 100, would that be? We're just under 5,000 square
Yeah.
feet.
I don't have
Not exact dimensions, okay.
dimensions, no.
All right. And looking at your comparables, comp number 1 is on Dumoulin Street. It's got a commercial adjacent influence to it, so it's got an adjustment for a negative influence there. I guess on the south side, there's possibly a garage and a used car lot or something. Would that be accurate? Across the
I
lane?
think that's kind of car repair shop, I believe.
Yeah. On the corner of Langevin and Promotion, okay. So that's the commercial influence there. External corner influence, looks like that's comp number 2. That's on a quiet corner, I believe, but close to the railway line, I guess, but you're on the south side of, north side of North Dame, and then you got Lavendra in the park. There's a little bit of a break there from the rail line, okay. Comp number 3, we've got an influence of a bus route and commercial adjacent, so, would you know what that commercial adjacent is?
I cannot be exact from the looks of it, and I may not be accurate, but probably multi-family development.
Like an apartment or a
Probably,
multiplex?
most
Okay.
likely,
Okay.
by the looks of it, but I cannot confirm it for sure.
All right. And the last one, comp number 4, we're on Bourgeois Street, commercial adjacent, number 4. Any idea what that influence would be, possibly?
Oh, there is a, okay, so there is a commercial plant there. I wish I could recall what it is, but
Okay,
there is a
some-
commercial plant at the rail line.
And the rail line, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all 4 comps have some kind of negative influence, I guess. And the subject property is assessed at $139. The lowest comp is $139. I guess my next question would be 1.5 story or a bungalow. Which would be considered to be superior? Which would sell for more per square foot? A bungalow or a 1.5 story?
Well, this particular bungalow has a park basement, so we right away we're looking at normally when you compare 1.5 story and 1 story would have more of a footprint, larger, therefore larger basement, more expensive to build. 1.5 stories would have a staircase that takes out some square footage, so overall usable area would be a bit smaller. But I just want to bring out that such a property, none of them have basement development, so, but overall like square footage should probably be slightly, I guess, it is, bungalows tend to be more popular nowadays because they do not have a staircase.
Okay. All right, thank you. And any idea on the rent that's being charged on this subject property?
I believe appellant mentioned something around $700 a month.
Pardon me?
$700 a month.
Okay, plus utilities?
I
Well, we'll
wasn't
find-
aware to find out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all my questions. Sir, when you're ready, please.
Alright, the subject property is 821 St. Joseph Street, roll number 06-06-0120000, file number 19-1959. If you flip to page 2 of my brief, we are requesting the board to decrease the to revise the assessment from 195,000 to 125,000. That's just summary there. On page 3 and 4, I have provided maps of the location of the subject property. On page 5, I have my property description. So the subject property is a bungalow. It's currently being used as a rental home and is located at 821 St. Joseph Street in the North St. Boniface neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg, on the northwest corner of St. Joseph Street and Darvaux Street. It's considered to be in the low-density residential policy area according to the North St. Boniface Secondary Plan, Winnipeg Bylaw number 30/2017. If you want to refer to some of the printouts that I have for the North St. Boniface Secondary Plan, you can flip to pages 25 and 26 of the appendix. So here it says that here it describes the characteristics that characterize a low-density residential policy area that the Planning, Property and Development Department is aiming for, and on page 26 I have provided a map as well. You can see there's just this really small yellow square on the top left corner. That is where the subject property would lie on the plan. And the property has a total living area of 1,397 square feet. I'm back on page 5.
Sorry, sir, I
Oh.
missed that. I missed the
No, that's
map
okay.
location. Is that page 26?
Yeah, that
You
is
were just
page
referring-
26, correct, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
right. And you were referring, I'm sorry, the location of the subject property?
Top left corner, there's two sort of there's two yellow squares there. The subject property would be located in the smaller portion.
Oh, I see, okay. Right, okay. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, that's okay. Alright, so our opinion is that the subject property is in poor condition. The exterior of the property has a wood plank siding with noticeable signs of wood decay. The asphalt shingle roof requires replacement, and the windows are also in poor condition. We also note that the detached garage has been demolished. The assessor has mentioned that in his presentation as well. I have photos of the subject property for you all to refer to, which are on page 12 to 15. I'll give you a second to look at those. So page 12 shows the basement. As you can see, it's not in the greatest condition, it's unfinished. On page 13, that's the basement wall. And you can see the wood decay, or I guess rotting would be a better way to describe it, on pages 13 and 14. Alright. So the interior has plastered walls with laminate flooring. The basement is unfinished and is in poor condition. And I have also confirmed with the client that there are reported leaks in the basement walls as well. The subject site is zoned M2 and is a 4,934 square foot corner lot and is in close proximity to a Canadian National Railway principal main line, which is the high line that the assessor mentioned in his presentation. And again, if you want to refer to my map on page 3, you can see the location of the high line there. Okay. So now moving on to the highest and best use of the property on page 5. The highest and best use can be defined as the use that will generate the highest net return to the property owner over a period of time. In order to determine the highest and best use, the following considerations must be made. It must be a legal use permitted under local administrative regulations such as zoning. The use must be probable rather than unlikely or highly speculative. The use must be complementary rather than competitive, and there must be a demand for such use. And the use must be the most profitable for the entire property and generate the highest net return over a reasonable amount of time. So I had to go with this because this kind of leads into my highest and best use argument. So with this subject property, there's several risks to the marketability for the property. And the most discernible being the current zoning M2, which makes the current use as a single-family residential property a legal non-conforming use. I've provided printouts as well on pages 21 to 24 of my brief. And if I could refer you to the zoning table on page 23. Under M2 zoning, single-family residential dwellings are not permitted on-site zone M2. All right, so as was mentioned, the subject property is in close proximity to the CNR High Line, and any future development would trigger a review of the railway considerations under the city's new policy for development along railway corridors. Again, I've provided printouts on pages 27 to 32 of my brief. And if I can direct your attention to page 28. For a principal main line, the setback recommendation is 30 meters, but it is recognized that these measures are not for retrofits, so existing residential neighborhoods, and they're more so for new greenfield development. Variations to the setback may be considered where there are elevation differences between the railway and the subject property. So because the subject property is in close proximity to the High Line, we can reasonably expect that the setback requirement would likely increase because of that. That's an assumption that I'm going into this. And the recommended setbacks apply only to the principal building. So any detached garages, any accessory buildings do not apply for the setback recommendations for railways. A similar situation had occurred on 825 Taché Avenue. The file number was DASZ 34/2016. I've provided.
Sir, would you mind referring to the page here?
Oh, for sure, sorry. I'm on page 6 now.
Page 6. Okay, thank you.
So page 6, that was just my statement that there was a similar situation where the subject site was zoned M2 and the railway setback recommendations were taken into account in the decision-making process for this. And I've provided, again, printouts on page 33 of my brief that the preparation for the plan of the subdivision was approved by council. So coming back to page 6, sorry if I'm jumping back and forth here.
Okay.
The subject site's currently zoned M2, therefore new residential development would require rezoning as residential uses are non-conforming or are a non-conforming use under M2 zoning. So again, council did approve the plan of rezoning a subdivision of 825 Taché Avenue, and it was recommended in the council minutes that for the development of any building and or accessory parking and or signage within the land zone RMU, residential mixed use, plan shall be submitted showing the location and design of the proposed building, the location and design of accessory parking areas, private approaches, garbage enclosures, fencing and landscaping to the Director of Planning, Property and Development and the Real Community for plan approval prior to the issuance of any building or development permit, and thereafter all to be maintained to the satisfaction of the planning, property and development department. Within this council decision, the PPD department did submit a recommendation report where the CNR high line was considered to determine the setback recommendations. And that can be found, if you want to see that statement, it is on page 36 of my brief. It is the it is the second highlighted point under rail proximity considerations. So, and there were further modifications to the proposed subdivisions. I'm just going back to page 6 now. And the zoning, there were modifications to the proposed subdivisions, and the zoning variance was later approved, and that can be found on page 36 and 37 of my appendix. Okay, so the subject also does not conform to the developing character of the neighborhood due to the development of newer, higher quality residential dwellings. On pages 16 to 17, I have provided neighborhood photographs, just showing what the character of the neighborhood is developing towards. So page 16, you can see the subject property. It's near this, what looks like a church. I believe it's actually being used as a commercial office to the best of my knowledge. Page 16, you can see some of the newer developments going on there. Page 17, you can see that the older type housing isn't exactly conforming to the developing character of the North St. Boniface neighborhood. So, based on the foregoing, the legal permissibility of this property does not conform to its current zoning and the neighborhood area. It is also in close proximity to the CNR High Line, which greatly impedes on its development potential. Therefore, the highest and best use of the property of the subject is as it exists in its current use as a single-family residential dwelling. And as I mentioned before, because of the setbacks, if this property were to ever be demolished, hypothetically, it would face the risk of the setback recommendations. Okay, now moving on to my property valuation on page 8. I've attached summaries of the comparable sales, all of which are, in my opinion, are superior to the subject property. Reasons for that being the zoning that each of the properties have. I've done a little bit of research on each comparison, of course, and the finishing as well as the conditions seem to be superior to the subject property as well. And so my summary includes the summary included identifies 7 comparables, 2 of which were identified by the city's online comparable sales. The sales indicate an average time adjusted sale price of $220 per square foot and a median time adjusted sale price of $209 per square foot. And comparable sales numbers 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7 have also received upgrades. And we have applied adjustments based on the condition of the subject property because of the inherent risks stated previously. Right. So I'll move on to page 9 of my brief that lists all the comparables that I've taken into consideration. 555 de Muron Street in the central St. Boniface area. It's a 1-story dwelling built in 1927. The total living area is 994 square feet. It has a basement, and the basement is finished according to the city's records. No air conditioning, no fireplace. There's a detached garage. The lot size is 3,910 square feet and has C1 zoning. Under C1 zoning, single-family dwellings are permitted under that, if you want to refer back to my zoning table that I mentioned earlier. 558 Bourdreau Street in the central St. Boniface area is a 1-story dwelling built in 1910. The total living area is 824 square feet with a finished basement, no air conditioning, no fireplace. It has a detached garage. Lot size is 5,397 square feet, zoned R2. and sold for $170,000. 340 Dumoulin Street in the North St. Boniface area is a one-story dwelling built in 1909. Living area is 794 square feet. The basement is finished. No air conditioning, no fireplace, and there is a detached garage. Lot size is 4,046 square feet with R1 medium zoning. 292 Hamel Street, located in the central St. Boniface area neighborhood, is a one-story dwelling built in 1929. Total living area is 768 square feet with a finished basement. Lot size is 3,086 square feet with R2 zoning. 175 Archibald Street in the North St. Boniface neighborhood is a one-story dwelling built in 1941. Total living area is 737 square feet. The basement is not finished and it has a detached garage. Lot size 5,605. Zoning R1M. 432 Dumoulin Street, North St. Boniface, one story. Year built is 1910. Total living area is 740 square feet. The basement is finished. Or sorry, the basement is not finished. It has air conditioning, no fireplace, and no garage. Lot size is 8,107 square feet with residential 1 zoning. 472 Dumoulin Street in the North St. Boniface neighborhood is a one-story dwelling built in 1948. Total living area is 1,058 square feet. The basement is finished, no air conditioning, and no detached garage. Lot size 4,704 square feet, and the zoning is also residential 1 medium. So as you can see, these comparable properties, they don't face the same risks that the subject property would. So in conclusion, based on the comparable sales and the inherent issues associated with the subject property, we would accordingly suggest the value of no more than $89.48 per square feet be applied for the subject property, which equals to a value of $125,000.
Okay, sir, thank you. Just bear with us for 1 second, Arca, please. Okay. Mr. Arca, any questions of the
Yes.
appellant?
I just want to confirm that highest and best use of the subject property is its current use as a residential single-family dwelling. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
On the 7 comparable that you have provided on page 9 of your report,
Yes.
I see a trend that maybe you can see it as well, that smaller property, which is comparable number 5, tend to sell for least dollar amount, and the larger it was getting, the property was selling for the higher dollar amount. Would you see the trend too?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Would you see a trend that smaller properties sold for less dollars, and larger properties sold for more money?
Per square foot, yes, the larger properties would sell for less per square foot.
Larger properties would sell for more dollars, period.
More dollars, period, yes. We can do that.
So all of the comparables are, like, with the exception of comparable number 7, which is slightly over 1,000 square feet, all of them are way below 1,000 square feet, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, the subject property is much larger than any of the comparables, correct?
That's correct, but then we would have to take into account economies of scale once we get into the larger properties, and larger properties do tend to sell for less value per square foot.
That's fair. I have less value per square foot, but then let's say have comparable number 7, which is only 1,058 square feet, sold for $245,000, period.
Yes.
So, taking the next step. all of the comparables, none of the comparables are within the exact neighborhood of the subject property, which is being like north of the rail line and next to the Whittier Park. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. And guess I should mention that I also provided a map. I forgot where that was, but in my appendix, for the subject properties. Or for the comparable, sorry. So let me just try to find that for you guys. It'll be on page 18.
Okay, now, location close to the Whittier Park, right, right north of the railroad line where the subject property is located. That particular neighborhood, would you agree that it is a superior neighborhood in comparison to the rest of North St. Boniface or Central St. Boniface?
I would agree with that, yes.
Thank you. And being that subject property, like you have mentioned a lot about redevelopment or so, but it doesn't have to be demolished. It can stay in its current use as a single-family dwelling, correct?
It could stay in that, yes, but there's the potential risk to still consider with that, given its condition of a potential purchaser who would, a prudent purchaser would know about the information that I've conveyed today with regards to the railway setbacks and the North St. Boniface plan.
So, as I said, it doesn't have to be demolished. So, being in a superior neighborhood next to Whittier Park, in very close proximity to downtown, and still priced under $200,000 as a single-family dwelling, would you agree that there is a market for that?
If the subject property was priced under $200,000, there's a
Well, priced, let's say, at $200,000.
At $200,000, I wouldn't agree with that because of the risks that I had mentioned.
I think would you agree that properties in the North End, within the same area where subject property located, but that are not affected to the same railroad setback requirements, are selling for over $600,000? Do you agree with me?
Yes, but the biggest issue with the property is because of the railway setbacks. But if something were to sell for over $600,000, it's like, in referring to my comps, those railway setbacks would not affect. I mean, I guess it depends on the location of what's selling. If it's near a railroad track, then you may have to consider the railway. But if it's not near a railway, then yes, I would agree that it could sell for about $600,000. But that would depend on the quality of the building. The subject property, as you can see, is in poor to below average condition.
So the subject property is rented, right?
Subject property is rented, yes, that's correct.
So it does meet some requirements of, at least minimal requirements for it to be habitable, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Lori, any questions of the appellant?
I do have a question. I'm trying to think of how to say it. So you're asking for a assessment on this property of $125,000 in total, right?
In total, yes.
Yeah, and it's currently at $195,000.
Correct.
So that's a fair drop. So on a square foot basis, you're asking for $89.48 versus the current $139.58.
Yes.
Okay, and then when I look at your comps you selected, the median comp, you've calculated that on a square foot basis of $209 on the comps that you put forward.
Yes, but on page 8, I've also said that
Yeah.
we've applied adjustments based
Yeah.
on the condition and its
Right.
proximity to the rail lines and
Right.
the risks that are associated
Right.
with it.
So that's what I was gonna ask you. So, I mean, it's significantly lower than the square foot amount on the roll right now. It's significantly lower than the median comp. And your rationale, as you just said, is condition and zoning. But is it fair to say that most of your reductions are, you're attributing to the zoning and risk of marketing this property versus the condition?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct, yes.
Okay, I appreciate that. So then my other question is, and the highest and best use is still single-family res, right?
That's
I
correct,
heard you
yes.
sharing that with the assessor. And it doesn't have to be demolished. So what is the price of vacant land in this area right now?
The 2 sales that I was able to identify from my research, they were sitting at about 80,000, I believe.
So what is that on a square foot basis?
80,000 per square foot of the lot.
Well, no, sorry, it's selling for 80,000 per what? The land?
For the land, yes.
Yeah, but what quantum of land?
What quantum?
Like it's 80,000 an
Square feet.
acre or square feet?
Oh, I don't have that number with me, actually.
Do you have any sense of what vacant land is roughly selling at?
With regards to this research, I'm only aware of what had sold in North St. Boniface.
Okay, maybe, would it be fair to say that your ask in terms of the reduction in value of your property, both on a square foot basis and a total, is in essence the value of the land?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I did consider, I mean, with the value of the land, $80,000 selling in that area, I put, because of the condition, the risks with the zoning, I put almost I put minimal value on the building itself.
So the dwelling unit is very little, so the most of the value is on the land, so it's almost like vacant land.
Almost, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Gisela, any questions of your own?
Yes, I have a few questions. So we heard from the assessor that this land was purchased for $135,000 in 2012 by your client. Is that correct? Did your client purchase this land in 2012 for $135,000?
That is actually the
From the
first-
city of Winnipeg?
Yeah, that's the first time I'm actually hearing about that sale.
Okay,
Unfortunately.
so your client did not purchase the land in 2012 from the city of Winnipeg for $135,000?
It's likely that they did. I just haven't confirmed that with the client at all. I didn't actually, I thought I had looked into that, but I guess I had just missed it when looking at land titles.
Okay.
I'll admit that I missed that. I may have missed that point.
Do you know if this is the only piece of property in this area that your client purchased from the city of Winnipeg at that time or subsequently?
I am not aware of that, no. I am aware, however, of the lands that were purchased to the rear of the property by my client. As to the price of those, I'm not prepared to speak about.
Okay,
what
I
they
don't
sold
need,
for
I
yet.
don't need to know the price of those.
Oh, for
But your
sure.
client does own some other adjoining properties.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And can you tell me what is on those other adjoining properties?
So that would be the parklands, that's all I'm aware of in that area.
Okay. And I also want to ascertain that you mention on page 36 of your brief in these council minutes that there was this revisionary right that the city had placed on this parcel of property for potential Eastern Rapid Transit corridor.
Okay, so,
Was your client aware of that revisionary right when they purchased the property?
I don't know if they were aware of that reversionary right, but these council minutes actually refer to 825 Taché.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
just using that as kind of what the.
As an example.
As an example of how the
Okay.
railway setbacks are considered.
Sorry, I just didn't have an opportunity to read your whole brief while we were sitting here, so.
Oh, no, that's fine, it was quite lengthy, so, and I guess I do need to clarify here that, again, it was, the railway setbacks were considered, but because of the, Darvo right-of-way that it mentions here, the setback that was applied was 38 meters, and that was based off of the Darvo right-of-way that's located on, along that property. But then it says here that, the PPD department also considers the railway setbacks when making their recommendations. So I hope that kind of makes this blurb here, I know it's a long one, a little bit more clear.
Okay, I think that's all my questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gisela, okay, sir. First of all, do you know what the rent being charged for the property is?
$700 a month.
And plus utilities?
That I actually did not clarify with my clients, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Now, Qualico purchased this property in 2012. It was zoned, it's still zoned M2. And maybe you can't answer this, I'm not sure, but what was the reason for them purchasing it, an M2 lot there? Are they land banking?
I believe.
You said there was some property owned in behind and,
Yeah, I know they purchased the rear lands with the intent of hopefully developing that. As to the background, as to why they purchased the subject property,
fair enough. Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm not able to.
Sure.
I apologize again.
That's fine, that's fine. Okay. So now what I'm gonna look at here is, we're mandated to assess this property based on current use, and currently it's used as a residential single dwelling.
Okay.
That's what the assessor's assessing it at. You're saying that if it were to be, no, I guess my question is, there's all these restrictions that you presented here that would influence what the current owner could do or a future owner could do, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if the land was left as M2 and not used for residential, would there be any restrictions? In other words, could somebody put industrial use on this lot
No.
and not face any kind of restrictions?
They would actually face an obstacle with trying to build a industrial building on this lot. And that was in the North St. Boniface secondary plan
Okay,
on page 25 of my brief. And that's on, again, page 25, 3.1.2, subsection 7 there. It says commercial uses, residential multifamily uses, and industrial uses shall not be permitted on low density residential areas.
okay, okay. So if somebody purchased this house and it's got a footprint of a basement, that's, I think, would be grandfathered. I think that's what the current situation is, not conforming.
Yes, it would be
Okay,
grandfathered.
if they demolished from the basement up and rebuilt a house on there, that would be allowed, would it not?
If they demolished from the basement,
Left the basement in ground and just kept within the perimeter current footprint, there would be, the city would have, or there would, none of those restrictions would apply, would that be fair?
the fact that it's a renovation, I would agree that yes, they would be able to.
Yeah.
But I would question the possible financial feasibility of something like that.
Yeah,
Of renovations to that extent.
okay.
And also the basement, as I said, it's not in the greatest condition as well, so.
Okay. What I'm getting at, is there any real restriction if you stick within the footprint of the current building?
No, because it would be grandfathered in.
As long as it's residential, single-family dwelling,
Yes,
that's allowed, and a new owner would be able to do that.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't trigger the
Right.
setback requirements for the
Yeah,
rail line, correct?
Yeah, okay.
Renovations, it's when it's demolished and rezoned that the setback requirements would likely apply.
So what we've got here is, I think what the assessor is saying is that we're talking about north Provencher, north of the High Line. You've provided comparables that are south of the High Line, is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, and, but the subject property sits on the southern border of that northern development there, where a lot of that land is being redeveloped for modern $600,000 houses. But you're influenced by the High Line directly.
Yes.
I guess some of the newer houses on Iber and that are close to they're close to the tracks, but maybe not right against the tracks, would that be fair?
The other property, so
The new ones
let's
that they
say
built on
more
the north
north
side.
of that, is that?
Yeah, well, we've got the road going along the river.
Yeah.
By Whittier Park there,
Mhm.
and then, but then all those houses, I think there's 3 blocks back towards
Mhm.
the High Line. Is there new housing being built that are selling for 600,000 in there?
Yeah, there is new housing
Yeah.
that's being built, I'm not too sure.
It's
what-
starting to fill in, isn't it?
It's starting to fill in.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct, but they're not influenced
Yeah.
by the High Line because the setback requirement is only 30 meters.
Yeah, but they might be a back lane away from the High Line.
Yes, but the measurement is from the property line
Okay.
of the High Line to the face of the building.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and you've provided the market evidence, albeit arguably, I guess, on the south side of the High Line. And the market evidence there is from $179 to about $284 a square foot. We've discussed the economy of scale driving up those selling prices per square foot. The assessor's assessing subject at $139, market evidence from $179 to $284, in arguably a little bit less desirable location. I'm wondering where you get that $85 a square foot, or 87, is it?
89.
89. I'm wondering how you make that jump down approximately 50% less per square foot.
It's just, it would be because my argument is just centered around just the risks that are associated with the comparables that I have provided. They don't face that same risk. They're also zoned residential. There was a C1, commercial zoning 2, where single-family residential is permitted. So if you were to, again, in the hypothetical condition that these houses were to be demolished, they probably wouldn't, but you'd be able to rebuild a house there because the zoning would be grandfathered in, and you'd be able to build up on that lot. So it's because of the risks, and again, a little bit in part of the condition of the property that I came up to that value.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. All right. And my last question, Qualico purchased it in 2012 for, is it 135? You're asking us to revise it for effective 2018 for 125, so you're going down in value from the purchase price in 2012. Maybe you can't answer this, but I'm sure Qualico, as an experienced developer, would have known the restrictions that were in place on that lot when they purchased it for 135?
Yeah, I would agree that they are freedom purchases, yes.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying that the value has gone down in the land in 6 years in North Provencher area there?
Well, just for the subject property because of those risks.
Yeah, okay. But can you answer that Qualico knew what the risks were when they paid 135?
I
Maybe I'm
can't
putting you
answer
on the
for sure.
spot,
Yeah, I can answer for sure.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. Okay, you know what, Mr. Arca, I have one question for you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna just jump in here right now. having seen the photos of the interior, well, you probably saw the exterior, but the interior of the home and the appellant's explanation of what's going on physically in there in the basement and that, I won't put you on the spot. I'll ask you what the model allows for interior and exterior condition adjustments. Right now, are we assessed at average condition interior and exterior?
Exterior is assessed at fair.
Oh, it is fair, okay.
For interior, to be honest with you, appellant did not provide any pictures of the actual living section of the interior, so we cannot speak on the actual quality of the interior where people reside.
Okay. So we've got a fair modifier applied that's driving down the assessment by $15,000, $20,000 possibly?
I would probably say within the ballpark, yes.
Yeah, okay. And but interior is still average?
Interior is still average.
Okay. I don't know if you've got access to the model, but if you were to apply a fair modifier, can you provide us with a ballpark number of an adjustment?
Well, I myself offered the recommendation to the appellant at 180, considering the, without the site scene, considering the potential interior condition being below average.
So you were verbally recommending 180?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so we got a verbal rec. Okay. After reviewing considering the appellant's statements on the interior condition. Okay. And are either of you, do either of you have any history on past Board of Revision or Municipal Board hearings on this property?
So there's a municipal board hearing pending for the 2019
There's a
assessment
pending muni
value.
board, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And could I ask what value that request is based on?
What value that request is for the 2019 assessment? Why we had appealed it for the 2019?
Yeah, was there a Board of Revision decision and you went further to the municipal board based on that? You know, or?
From what I know, the decision, we actually had confirmed the 2019 assessment here at the Board of Revision, and then it was taken further to the municipal board.
Okay, so.
And that was a separate agent handling the property at that time, so.
You weren't representing them? Yeah.
I wasn't representing them at that time.
So the.
And it'd be difficult for me to kind of convey what
No, fair.
the argument
No,
would be.
That's fair. So the agent just asked for confirmation so they could proceed to the municipal board. That's your understanding, but you weren't representing them, so.
That's my understanding.
Okay,
yes.
fair enough, yeah,
Mhm.
okay, okay. All right. Sorry to butt in here, but I thought we'd clear this up. Okay, Mr. Arca, any reason for summary?
So again, I would summarize quickly that based on the evidence presented and without clear picture of actual interior condition of the living section of the house, I believe that the assessed value at 195 is a fair assessment.
Okay.
Given and the reason behind it is principles of progression, where such property is an inferior property with a higher risk in a superior neighborhood. So principles of progression will apply. That a bit of renovation is required, would bring the value of the property, and in its current condition at about 195. At $195,000. I believe there is a market for it, so it would have sold for that much on the open market. So
And you said 185,000? I have 180.
180.
Maybe I missed, okay,
Mhm.
all right. considering the verbal presentation, okay? Okay. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I just need to clarify one. You guys stated that the interior was in poor condition. I just said the property overall was in poor condition.
No, I was talking about the model, the model that the city
Oh,
uses,
okay.
that they
Yeah.
apply modifiers, they can apply modifiers.
Yeah.
Reflecting exterior and interior condition.
Okay.
And I was inquiring, and the assessor confirmed that there was a fair modifier on there, that without that modifier, the assessment would probably be $20,000 higher.
Okay.
But he said the interior was still as average, so there is no adjustment for the interior.
Right, okay.
But then he said, after hearing you verbally, he's willing to revise it, to give an adjustment for $15,000 down to $180,000,
Okay.
based on your presentation of the condition on the interior of the house and the exterior, I guess, but.
Well, the basement is just what I had established as
Yeah.
in poor condition. The main level, I actually didn't speak to that too
Okay.
much, I believe. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure for the record that I didn't state
No,
that the
no.
main level was in poor condition,
No,
to be fair.
yeah, no, that's okay, it was my line of questioning, you didn't imply that at all, like you said, you just provided the basement picture, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just my knowledge of how the system works, so,
So, I guess, may I ask a quick question?
of course.
So main level is in average condition?
I would say it's in average condition for, yeah.
Could I withdraw my 180?
195.
Recommendation.
Okay. Okay. So we're back to 195, we'll cancel that. Okay, so we're gonna consider everything that's been said here today. Is there any requirement for a summary? I think you've got a pretty good picture of what your arguments are and everything, so, yeah.
I guess, yeah, just a quick summary. So as I said, the subject property overall, I would say is in poor condition. It does face the risks because of its zoning, which would, because of its zoning and its proximity to the High Line. And because of those risks, we believe that the assessed value should be revised to $125,000.
Okay, all right, we'll consider all the evidence presented today, and you will hear from us as soon as possible, okay? Thank you very much for
Thank
hearing.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think I'm gonna have to ask for a 10-minute recess. Thank you. Thanks, Kara. Okay, I'll call the hearing back to order. Next property on the docket is item number 551 Saint-Jean-Baptiste Street.
Yes.
And if you'd like to come forward, ma'am. And we're dealing with the 2020 realty assessment.
Will you swear on the Bible or affirm without? Please state your name. You already heard it. Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth and the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I'm certain.
Do you have anything to distribute to the panel this morning?
Yes.
There are 6 copies. Okay. So one can be for you to sign us through, and then.
Thank you.
Um, 551 Montchamp, or Saint Jean Baptiste.
Okay.
Item number 5. Martha. So, and you've got a copy?
I do, yes. Thank you.
Right on it. Okay, so we're dealing with 551 Saint Jean-Baptiste Street. Good morning.
Good morning.
And item number 5, dealing with the 2020 realty assessment. Martha, when you are ready, please.
So subject property is with a parcel ID 0607034000, street address 551 Saint Jean-Baptiste Street in central St. Boniface. Is a 2-story single-family dwelling, 1936 year built, 1951 effective age, 1,120 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 1 full bathroom, central air conditioner, detached multi-car garage, 4,084 square feet of lot size, school as a land influence. 2020 assessment roll is $284,000. Total assessment per square foot is $253.57. Okay, for the four comparables, they're all in central St. Boniface area, same as subject property. They're all two-story single dwellings, same as subject property. So with that, living area ranges from 1,005 square feet to 1,280 square feet. Year build ranges from 1910 to 1941, and the effective age ranges from 1912 to 1981. Only comparable 3 and 4 have full basement as subject property. Comparable 1 and 2 has inferior basement types as full part area or part basement. Comparable 1 has basement finish, comparable 3 have basement finish, and comparable 4 has basement finish. Comparable 2 only has 1 full bathroom. Same as subject property. Other comparable also have 1 full bath and a shower or 2 full baths. All of them have central air conditioner. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have detached single car garages, and only comparable 4 has a detached multi-car garage, same as subject property. Lot sizes ranges from 2,751 square feet in comparable 2 to 5,038 square feet in comparable 4. All of the comparables suffer from negative influences such as commercial adjacent, light traffic, bus routes. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $257,300 to $406,900. Time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges from $201.02 to $326.04. All comparables have been sold between April 1st, 2018 and April 1st, 2016. Subject property itself was purchased for $255,900 in 2015. So if we are time adjusting that price, I have that number here, would be around $278, which falls within 5% degree of tolerance set forth by Court of Appeals in case of John A. Flanders Limited versus City of Winnipeg Assessor, where Court of Appeals established a 5% degree of tolerance for the municipal assessment process. So in that case, $284,000 assessment meets the tolerance requirement to the time adjusted value of subject property based on its 2015 purchase of $278. That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Arkat. You've got the assessor's brief. Do you have any questions on what he's presented so far?
Yes, I actually do. We do have a detached garage, but it is for a single car. There is only one door, and it's barely enough for my car to fit in, and there's no room for 2 cars.
Yeah, I think maybe the assessor will explain why it's called, depending on the square footage, their breakdown, I think.
Yeah, I have 468 square feet of detached garage area. But again, probably within the course of the appellant's presentation, he'll be able to explain what kind of door it has, like how wide it is, or so on.
Okay, yeah. So he's saying he's assessing at 468 square feet, so it's about 20 by 22, but maybe in your evidence you can present otherwise, okay? Okay, anything else?
No, not
If you think of anything, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, thank you. Gisela, any questions of the assessor?
I have no questions, thank you.
Lori, any questions?
Was this property inspected recently?
No, it has not been inspected.
Okay, and the interior you consider you've got it coded as,
Well, this time the interior is considered average, and the basement finish is considered fair.
thank you.
Anything else, Lori?
A quick question. What is the average increase in properties in this market area?
Very good cheat sheet with me. Okay, so that would be 5.79%.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Arca, age variant, no, first of all, the sale in 2015, any notes on the sales, was there sales?
Well, it's just,
Check that.
there was no listing, so it's considered a private sale.
Private sale, okay,
Mhm. That's it.
okay. All right, and age variant, can you tell us anything about the age variant from 1936 to 1951?
I cannot say anything about it at this point. I don't have information.
No information, okay. Or it might have been done years ago, or was it done at the time of the sales check?
Perhaps, let's see, most likely, I would have to say it had to be at least looked at during the time of the sales check, so let's see. Okay, so sales check, okay, so at the time of sales check, they did some work there, so they added a deck, they removed the carport, they increased the size of the detached garage, so that all happened at the time of sales check.
So that was done that was present at time of sale or after the sale?
At the time of sale.
Okay. Thank you. And last question, you made a comment from Lori's question, interior is average and exterior is, or?
No, that basement finish is fair.
Oh, basement finish, okay, yeah. Okay, so we got average, okay. That's all my questions, thank you. Okay. Ms. Karube?
Yes.
Okay, when you're ready, please.
Yes, so the first two pages are the list of the houses from the past two sale book, City of Winnipeg sale book.
Yes.
And I have picked some comparable houses that were sold at plus or minus $50,000 from our house in terms of our purchase price back
Okay.
in 2015, and I'm so sorry. I have added cell right here, the difference between the 2018 assessed price and 2020 assessed price. And the shaded cells indicate that there's a decrease in assessed value between those 2 years. And some of the houses, if you look at the sale price and the assessed price for 2020 is actually cheaper than the price of sales back in 2014. And you could also see half the houses were reassessed.
Right. You know, ma'am, maybe I'm gonna make a comment here.
Yes.
In my opening remarks, I stated that we don't compare assessments.
Oh,
I see you've done a
I'm so
lot of
sorry.
work here. Yeah, you know, with analysis and everything, but what we're looking at, and you've provided a list of market evidence. I'll put it plainly, the assessor's assessing you at $253 a square foot.
yeah.
So you provided, maybe you'd like to highlight which sales that you would like us to look at that prove that you're overassessed. I'll put it black and white for what we're looking for.
Yes, so,
Can you do that? You want a minute to,
yes.
maybe
So could you repeat yourself for what I would?
okay, so you've done an analysis and your argument is so far is differences in assessed values.
Values and also the building type, the number of rooms, AC, detached garage, assessed land area, also a total living area.
Okay, so all of these, majority of these are two-story.
Yes.
Majority of them, the lower half are falling in the analysis time, which is 2016 to 2018, that the assessor would have used. 2015 is older, but still, like, you know, I mean, there's a time adjustment required
Yes.
to bring it up to April 1st, 2018. But we're looking for evidence of market value of house style that you have, two-story, and what they're sold for per square foot for our analysis, I guess. But I don't think you've done that.
No, but
Yeah.
the third, for the third page of the evidence is comparable market analysis.
Okay.
But that is from 2 years ago,
Yeah,
when the current owner of the house, which is my boyfriend, was going through a divorce.
okay. So for this hearing, we're looking at April 1st, 2018. And you're stating that this was done for 2016 probably market value, or when was it done? For, okay, 2017, okay.
Yes, and these houses are the list is the houses that were sold between 2014 and 2018.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe you'd like to go through that presentation regarding this. Now, is there a summary of, or a conclusion reached on the value for 2018?
All I could conclude was that one thing I can add are all the shaded cells and the comparable features, such as rooms, AC, touch garage, landed area. All the shaded cells are the houses with bigger land area or total living area or more bedrooms
Okay.
and things like that. So these are all taken from the website of the city of Winnipeg.
Yeah, okay.
And also I adjusted the prices with the average percentage of increases
Yeah, okay.
for every year.
Yeah, okay. You know, I'm just looking quickly at the ones that sold on your street. So we've got, in the middle of the page, we've got 588. Saint Jean Baptiste, we've got 592. One's 1 3/4, one is 2-story, so same as yours. Then I'm going down to 400, that's a 1.5 story, so we'll ignore that one. 440. Okay. Maybe you'd like to highlight the ones on your street. You've got,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, and let's talk
I'm so
about,
sorry.
yeah, and then, yeah, if you don't mind. Take your time. I'm just giving you a little hand here with market evidence.
There are 8 houses on the list.
Yeah. So would you like to go through the 2-story ones? I think there's enough 2-story, same style as yours.
Sure. Yeah, the ones, 406 Saint John Baptist Street, which is just below 551 in the road.
Okay,
That house has a seven bedrooms and yeah, they just,
is that because they developed the attic area? It's a 2.5 story?
I'm not sure.
It's okay. Okay, so 406. Okay, anything else you'd like to point out to us?
Not from the list anymore, and I also have a few pictures, but they're very poor quality.
Okay, let's go through
And
that, okay?
yes, I was wondering if I could show the screen of my laptop.
No,
Oh,
sorry, yeah, no, we're fine with this.
okay.
Thank you. If you just explain what's going on here with each picture, please.
Yes, so for the first picture, I have a picture of our gate that's right next to
Okay,
the house. It is broken down, it doesn't even move anymore, and the fences, all the fences are also in poor condition. The picture next to it, the right, this is a separated room that's attached to the garage, the storage area. It has no real foundation, it's like simply built on the ground with a little stone.
okay,
Yes. And the next, moving on to the next page, it's for the picture on the left, this is the way. This is our back door, which we use mainly for the entering the house. There's a leak in the frame,
okay,
and the picture next to it, there is a hole in the foundation. It's just like a hollow inside the foundation, it seems like. And moving on to the next page, we do, I don't know why I align pictures in this way, but so we have, this is just a picture of that. We have a central AC.
Yes.
And the next one, this is where leak happens often because the toilet on the main floor overflows sometime, once in a while. And it also damaged the floor, the vinyl floor, and also the underlayment, the cork underlayment. And we had to recently rip out the old underlayment in the bathroom, but it also leaked into the hallway and into the basement. And I don't know why I didn't do it, but I have the cork underlayment is also damaged in the hallway that is right next to the kitchen, and it does once in a while leaks into the basement.
okay,
Yes, so there is that problem. We have to redo the whole floor on the kitchen, in the kitchen, and also the hallway that leads to the bathroom, and the staircase that leads us to the second floor. And this is a picture of another AC that we bought this year because the air circulation in the house is very poor. So there's a huge temperature gap even though we have an AC. So we actually had to buy an extra because if we turn the AC on, it's freezing cold in the basement, it's still boiling hot in the second floor, which is the other way around. Winter, it's boiling hot in the basement, and it's still freezing cold on the second floor.
Okay.
So we have a multiple heaters as well. And moving on to the next picture, it's a wall, one of the walls of the garage. There is a hole that you can see through the outside. That's how damaged the garage is. Also the picture next to it, that's a kitchen window. Frame is rotten and like falling apart, which is the same thing for the door frame for the back door. I touched other frames as well, and it was soft, so it probably all need a replacement and probably some work for the stucco because it's all damaged as well.
Okay.
And the last page is the same picture of the hole in the garage wall. And that is all I can provide as an evidence today.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Arca, any questions of the appellant?
Yeah. So if you look at the picture number 1 here,
Yes.
which shows the fence gate as well as can you clarify what's the second picture here? Is it, can you clarify what this picture here represents?
Oh, that is the storage area that's to the base, that's to the garage. It's a separate room. It has another entrance, but it's that is what is making the garage look bigger.
So is your garage attached to your house through a storage way? Is that how?
No, it is attached.
It is?
It is not attached to the house, but the garage has like 2 rooms.
And when the property was purchased in 2015, I don't know, was it the condition of the storage area and the I guess fence deck similar to what it is now, or?
That's what I was told. I only moved in there January 2018, so I haven't seen anything before.
Okay.
I never saw anything like before that.
Okay. And you mentioned there is a toilet leak that's represented in one of the pictures. I only have one toilet on the panel. Is there more than one bathroom in the house?
We have a plan to build another.
But today there is only one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there's pictures of the garage. You didn't take any pictures of the basement, right? But the basement is finished, is that
It
correct?
is finished. Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Arca. Lori, any questions of the appellant?
I have no questions, thank you.
Gisela, any questions?
Yes, I'm just wondering when these pictures were taken
This morning.
this morning.
Yes.
And so this house sold in 2015 for $255,900 in the sale history that we have here. I'm wondering, have there been any upgrades at all since that time?
I only know from 2018. Let me just think, because it was mainly the repairs. We did a little bit of work in the basement. We kind of added a ceiling to half of the basement. It's just a work in progress because the beams are very uneven, so it's been difficult for us to put the ceiling on. We just gave up. And as I mentioned earlier, I redid I put plastic tile for the bathroom because the underlayment was all damaged and it was all molded and everything. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so my question, 2015 sale, is that a result of a legal split of the property, or was that outright purchase of the property?
Sorry, what?
The 2015 sale,
Yeah.
was that as a result of the divorce? Was that a legal?
No, they were still together. Their divorce happened in 2017.
Okay,
And,
so they purchased the house
yeah,
in
together.
the open market or from a private sale together, okay. So that's a
I
private
agree, but I'm
sale.
not sure.
Yeah, okay. Now this estimate of value, what was the purpose of this, 2017?
It was just a professional analysis, so I thought I would put it in there.
Okay, so Stephen Patrick, he's Patrick Realty, I believe. Yeah, Patrick Realty, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So he put a market value on it of $249,000 to $269,000.
Yes.
Did he, but you haven't attached any evidence of his analysis for market evaluation? Just a cover sheet, I guess?
I believe there might be, but
Yeah, you didn't bring it.
I didn't
Okay.
know where it was.
Yeah, okay. Now, and what, you haven't told us what you think the assessment should be on the property.
I would believe it should be around 250 to 260 instead of 284.
And is that because of the physical problems with the home, with the water damage, the foundation holes and that kind of thing? Is that what?
That also, and personally I'm not sure, but the neighborhood is getting worse and worse.
Okay.
It's not really just my house, but we had like 5 break-ins since I moved in 2018. And to the garage, we've had, it was actually on the news. Yes, and also there is a hostile, aggressive neighbor that lives right next to it. Is this something I'm allowed to talk here?
Yeah.
Or, on our first encounter, she just pulled out some mirror from that space in between the garage that I didn't know existed. It was the first time I met her, and she just pulled the mirrors out and just smashed into our driveway and told me to clean it. It happened all of a sudden, and everyone in the neighborhood kind of had warned me about the lady. But yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I'm allowed to.
No, that's okay. We've got an influence going on there. We'll consider it, in our estimation of value. Now, the garage, the assessor said it was 468 square feet. And then he made a comment about a carport being removed, so, can you guesstimate how wide what the size of the garage is? Physically, like, just because you only use half of it, is it bigger in structure?
There is a little more room in the garage to store more things, but
Okay.
there is no way you can
Put 2 cars.
no.
How wide is the overhead door? Is it, like, just 2 feet on either side of your car when you pull in, or is it wider than that?
Oh, it's about like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for both
Single door.
sides. Yes.
Okay, now is the door off to one side and then there's a bunch of storage within the wall system?
On one side, because
Yeah.
the side that the door is on is, we have just enough for the car and maybe get in and out from the car.
So if somebody's put a divider in the garage, a wall?
Yeah, so I don't
I'm
know.
trying to determine how big the actual structure is besides parking the garage.
It's kind of like, it kind of looks like this. I'm not sure, and like this is just enough for the car.
Right,
And like this is the area in the first picture,
okay,
which has no actual foundation.
okay,
And yes.
okay. All right, that's all my questions. Well, actually, so have the kitchen cabinets been updated, the furnace, the roof, windows, anything like that?
Kitchen cabinets, no, we are thinking about it.
Okay,
And
the furnace?
window, I'm not sure if it was,
Okay.
yes, but
How-
there is a leak around the window, so we will have to replace it.
Yeah. Is it forced air heat, because you've got central air conditioning? It's forced air furnace?
Yes.
Is it new or old?
I.
You don't know. Okay. All right, that's all my questions. Mr. Arca, summary?
Actually, I don't know, evidence is presented, so I don't think there is.
Yeah, not there.
Summaries.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, thank you for appearing. We've got all the information there, and you'll hear from us as soon as possible, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, next property on the docket, 526 Saint Jean Baptiste. Come forward, Mr. Bueller, I guess? Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
And we're doing item number 6,
Can you stand? Will you swear on the Bible or affirm it?
526.
Please state your name.
Sky to it.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Do you have anything to distribute to the panel today? Just a verbal presentation? Thank you.
Five 26, correct?
Yeah. Yes, item number 6.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye-bye. Do we have any evidence presented? Okay, thank you.
Mike, I do have pieces, I don't know if you want to hand them around, but
Well, we normally require copies for everybody, but if you go slowly and we'll take notes on
okay.
what you're referring to.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of the whole thing. This is obviously my first time.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so subject property, ready? Okay. Subject property was a parcel ID
Arthur,
0607.
would you mind speaking up a bit, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Subject property was a parcel ID 0607-0371-000. Street address 526 St. Jean Baptiste Street. In central St. Boniface neighborhood is a 1.5-story single dwelling. 1910 year built, 1930 effective age. 976 square feet of living area. Full basement with a basement finish, 1 full bathroom, central air conditioner, and no garages. Lot size 3,785 square feet, no land influences. Total assessment for 2020, $244,000. Total assessment per square foot, $229.51. For the 4 comparables, they're all in the central St. Boniface area. They're all 1-story single dwelling. They all have been built ranging from 1910 to 1926. Effective age would range from 1921 to 1930. They all have full basement finishes. Comparable 2 and 3 have basement finish. Comparable 1 and 4 do not have basement finish. Okay, comparable 2 and 3 have detached single car garage. Comparable 1 and 4 do not have any detached structures. None of them comparable 2 has central air conditioners, similar as subject. Comparable 1, 3 and 4 do not have central air conditioners. Lot size ranges from 2,916 square feet to 5,515 square feet. Comparable 3 doesn't have any influences similar to such property. Comparable 1, 2 and 4 have negative influences such as bus route, commercial adjacent, and light traffic. Comparable 2 only has commercial adjacent. And comparable 4 also has a school influence. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $196,500 to $259,000. Time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges from $193.56 to $239.71. Sold between April 1st, 2016 to April 1st, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Arca. Sir, do you have any questions of the evidence presented by the assessor?
What do you consider as a finished basement?
Okay, basement finish would be considered any area in the house that is developed as a potentially usable area for bedrooms, recreational area, or bathrooms.
Okay. Is that more in my remark, because it's not really livable down there, like there's no insulation, no drywall, no roof, no flooring really, it's just all cement all around.
Okay, and let me just, you can clarify to what they have. Out of 635 square feet of basement area, we have 125 square feet of considered as a living area. I don't have any other comments, and perhaps if it's not, then it's something that has to be addressed, and perhaps a property characteristic, I guess, but I'll let opponent present his evidence.
Anything else?
No, that was my.
Okay. Giselle, any questions of the assessor?
The only question I have is I'm wondering if you had an opportunity to actually assess the property in person?
I did not have the opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Lori, any questions?
How have you classified the interior and the exterior?
So here they are in average condition.
Both in and out?
Yes.
And are all your comps the same, like average?
As far as I'm aware, they are, but I don't have the specific information on them with me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, Art, could you assign a basement finish value? You know what, I think you said 135 square
For
feet.
it being 125 square feet
Yeah.
only, considering it's,
Nominal?
yeah, it's very nominal, I would say
Okay.
very nominal.
Okay. Okay. And 2018 sale is blanked out, was that because it's considered post-reference?
Cost reference sold in November 12, 2018.
Could we ask what, please? Selling price, please?
It sold for $232,500.
Pardon me?
$232,500.
With the acknowledgement it's post-reference, but,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. Okay, sir, when you are ready, please.
Yeah, so I was not only questioning the property assessment, but also the amount of taxes. Is that through here as well?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
mean, the assessment drives this portion to develop taxes due, but no, we just deal with the valuation.
Okay, is there something else for that? Like in order to appeal that as well?
No.
No, that's set in stone, okay.
And this is what the assessment value determines the taxes calculated. Yeah.
Just because it was, but that's, I guess, something else. So, so just on our property alone, so there is some comparables. I know that there's another one that on 467 St. John Baptist. I'll try to talk a bit slower as I don't have.
Are these sales or what are we referring to?
These are from the assessment and taxation property details from year 2018.
So they're the
This is
assessed
first-
value?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We don't really deal with assessed values
Okay.
because they may not be accurate, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, we don't know. That's why the assessor develops the values, the assessment based on market evidence
Okay.
of all the homes that sold in your neighborhood for like all the 1.5 stories. And it's mass appraisal, and there may be, for instance, there may be items in those assessments.
Yeah, like I do have
that aren't assessed
property
for,
value as well for different ones that are in the neighborhood.
pardon me,
I do have like property.
selling prices?
Yeah,
Okay,
for,
let's deal with that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So we have 54 Crestwood Crescent. So this one is about 20,000 sold for more. It's has one extra bedroom, and it actually has a finished basement in here, fully finished. And this one doesn't have a parking pad similar to our own, and then the extra bedroom, obviously.
Could I ask you what house style it is?
This is just a bungalow.
It's a bungalow, okay. And when did it sell?
This one sold in 2018.
Okay.
Which month?
Actually 2019, June. June 19, 2019.
Okay. All right. Well, I might as well comment now. The assessor doesn't use sales after April 1st, 2018 to develop their models for the 2020 reassessment.
Okay.
They'll use, for instance, that sale that you're referring to in 2019 to develop the 2022 sales that'll be reflective of April 1st, 2020? Is that right, Arkin? Yeah. So it's considered post-reference information. What we're looking for is, I know this is a learning experience for you, but the period we're looking for is sales that occurred between 2016 and 2018 as market evidence to reflect the April 1st, 2018 market.
Okay. I don't have any from
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah, this is because it's your first time, it's a little bit
It
hard.
wasn't too clear, I guess, as
Yeah.
well in the letter.
Yeah, we look at, that's what the assessors use to develop the assessment, and that's the evidence we're looking to revise the assessment, if you consider it wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, being your first time, a little bit of a learning curve here, but it sounds like you've only got post-reference.
Yes, those
sales.
two were.
Yeah, okay. Well then, you know what, tell us about the house and why you think the assessment
Yeah.
is wrong at $224,000. How's that?
I will definitely do that, thank you. So we bought the house in December 2018, and since then we haven't done any major renovations to it. There is no garage, and obviously it gets cold, and there's no electricity back there. Into the back, it was completely covered with rocks. The fence in the back as well was falling over, so we've had to repeatedly try to build it up against the other one because it keeps on falling over. As well, like I said, there was just rocks in the backyard and in the front, not too desirable, as I would say so myself. And then in terms of the basement, as I was talking before, I wouldn't even consider it finished, as did our realtor at the time, simply because there's no drywall down there. Like, I think that the area that he's referencing is sort of almost planned out, but there's no roofing in there, there's no drywall, the floors are unfinished, it's just concrete everywhere.
Okay.
The windows as well down there are minimal. They wouldn't even be considered for a potential bedroom down there. The central air as well, like the lady before was saying, it's always hot upstairs and cold in the basement, not too much insulation. And then even talking about the exterior, I know that he said it was fair or whatever the correct word he used, but upon actually reviewing the house, it sort of has, on the front, it will have a nicer sort of exterior in the front, but then when you go around the two sides and then the back, it's bad siding, it's different colored, like it really doesn't match. It looked as if the previous owner really only wanted the front to look good, I guess. But like the front is done, the other two have rotting siding that is starting to come off. As well, the roof will have to be replaced in the near future.
Okay. Art, any questions of the appellant?
Yes, actually, you purchased this house in 2018, correct?
Correct.
Did you buy it through a realtor?
Yeah.
So were you, did you see an MLS listing for the house that you purchased? Did
Pardon me,
read it?
can you repeat the question?
Did you see the MLS listing for the house that you have purchased?
Yeah.
Did you read it?
Did I read it like as of today?
Or at the time of purchase?
Yeah, I would
The
have
description.
read it before I purchased the house.
So it does say that your home has had $45,000 of renovations, correct?
Yeah, that is to the main floor.
It does say that it has a new kitchen and new bathroom, new laminate flooring throughout, updated windows, second floor renovated to the studs and spray foam insulated. Were you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay, you just brought information that it's not insulated, so I don't know, spray foam is considered to be the best type of insulation to, at this point anyways. So it has new furnace and all of the electrical has been updated, so you are aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It does list parking for 3 cars, correct?
I wouldn't say you can fit 3, but I am aware that that's what it states.
So you also have a screen depth, correct?
No, we had to take that down because simply it was falling over. So we had to remove that in May of 2019.
And there I should will say that I'll agree with the property owner that the basement is not finished based on the listing. Previous listing in 2014 did list it as a partial basement finish, but at this time with the correct property record and say no, there is no basement finish based on listing of the evidence present. But overall, your house has been substantially renovated at the time of your purchase, correct?
I would say that that would be inflected on the 196 that he purchased it in 2014.
So you don't think that it has been renovated since 2014?
No.
Okay, because when I look at 2014 renovation, it doesn't say, I don't see it, but the spray foam installation is nowhere there. So I would assume it was post 2014 purchase where they had to spray foam the house.
Yes. I guess you could say that. I'm not.
Yeah, well, that's all I have. Thank you.
It's all, okay, thank you. Lori, any questions of the appellant?
Just to clarify from the MLS listing, so between 2014 and 2018, like the kitchen cupboards and all that were already done when you bought it?
Yeah.
So it's just the spray foam that was new?
Yeah. I'm not too aware of the installation though.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Anything else, Lori?
No, that's it, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Giselle, any questions?
I just want to ascertain, do you know when these renovations took place?
I'm not too
Whether
sure.
in fact it was post 2014 or pre 2014?
It was never stated to
Okay.
me.
Can you tell me, you said the roof will have to be replaced?
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of an estimate as how much it might cost to have the roof replaced?
12 to 20,000, I think that Kevin Moist was saying, in sometime in the near future.
Okay, but you don't have a written
No.
assessment? Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so when you bought the house, it looked like the shingles were aging?
Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah, okay. So you considered that, well, we're gonna ignore that 2018 sale, but, so regarding the renovations, so when you purchased it in 2018, it was substantially renovated on the main floor and the upstairs, is that fair to say?
Yes, there definitely was some money included in it, but I believe that the renovations are not the best. Like, it almost looks as if he did it himself, like it's not too professional, like the cupboards. Like, even just last week, I had one of them fall off that I had to replace myself. The flooring is still uneven. I know that it says vinyl throughout, but the vinyl flooring is different leveled really all over the place. He didn't take the time to do that. And he also, I believe he shrunk the entrance that is heading into the basement. So even if we wanted to potentially in the future look to make it a den or something, it's almost like this big. Like it's really difficult to get any sort of furniture down there. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't move a big bed down
Yeah,
there.
okay. So it's almost unusable.
On the second floor, or the attic area, we'll call it the half story.
Yeah.
Does it look like it's being re-drywalled? Is there a knee wall and then?
Yeah.
There's a knee wall, okay.
Mhm.
Does it look like it's being re-drywalled?
Doesn't look like new drywall.
But they injected foam possibly, you think?
They could have, I guess. I'm not too sure on that one.
Yeah, and the floor finish up there?
It's not the best. It does look updated. It does look about 4 years old. The vinyls that are.
It's all vinyl,
Yeah.
like no Berber carpet in there?
The stairs are carpet, and then the rest is vinyl.
Okay, all right. So, my question to you is, if you think the value of $224,000 is incorrect, what do you think we should be assessing?
I would probably place it at about 214 to maybe 218. Not a significant drop, but certainly you can see that there's some problems around that. There's also a nearby train station that you can, or not train station, but there's trains obviously very close, being in St. Boniface, that because of how hot it is upstairs, sometimes we like to open up the window and it's hard to sleep when the train's constantly going across there.
Okay. All right. Arca, any requirement? No, you're good? Thank you. And sir, we've got a picture of what's going on there with the roof requirements and that kind of thing, so. And you're asking us to revise it to approximately $215,000.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, leave it with us. We need to hear from us as soon as possible. Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Yes. 33 Elm Park Road, Mr. Matter. Mattern, okay, there you go. That's in Mattern, or 33 Elm Park.
Please state your name.
Chris Matter.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Good evening.
I do. Sorry, I got insurance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you mind if you leave the door open for me?
Please do.
Oh, yeah, let's, yeah, I can feel it here.
It is, it's warmer here.
The sun through these walls.
Okay, so, this is a whole package, okay. Okay. Okay, Art, now we're dealing with 33 Elm Park Road, we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. And we've got the appellant's package.
Just want to make sure, does panel have the pictures of the subject property?
The subject property is the last one that doesn't have an address on, cover page on it. And if you look through the package I gave you, there's one last package. That one right there, please, that's the subject property.
Okay.
I took those pictures yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
I will apologize in advance, it's tenant occupied, and you can see dishes and stuff like that in the kitchen, so I can adjust that.
Yeah.
What's that?
That was just pictures taken during the inspection of the subject property, and I wasn't sure if it was submitted as an evidence to the panel or not.
Not with your brief.
Not with my brief, okay. I only have one copy, but I was probably submitted as an evidence, if that's possible, I'll just give it to the panel member.
Sure.
Probably similar.
I think that's okay.
So, yeah, so you inspected the property, or somebody did, an assessor
Yeah, the
did?
department did, yeah, somebody from the department.
Okay, and, sure.
So I'll just, do you want to just?
Okay, so that for a second, yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Don't write on that.
I know.
Sorry, did you want to?
No, I'll catch him on the way back, how's that? When I.
Okay.
Christine's edition.
These are articles, right?
Yes.
And actually, sorry if I may, I'm gonna distribute these. I, based upon one of the ones that you mentioned, I have the one from May of 2018 in the back there, which I understand now is not valid. that's one of the ones actually comparable he's used in his own assessment.
Well,
So,
we
I would hope so, I think 1 month.
may, yeah,
So, but anyways, for any event, I happen to have the same,
Okay.
and what he included, so.
okay,
Sort of inundate you with paper.
sure, thank you. Yeah, we'll decide how much evidence we'll put, or weight
Okay.
we'll put on the evidence, how's that?
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so these were taken. There you go. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Arca, 33 Elm Park Road, when you're ready,
The
please.
subject property was a parcel ID 080010225500. Street address 33 Elm Park Road in Elm Park neighborhood is a one-story single dwelling, 1939 year built, 1949 effective age, 789 square feet of living area with a full basement and a basement finish, one full bathroom, one half bathroom, central air conditioner, fireplace, and a detached single car garage. Total assessed lot size 5,499 square feet. 2020 assessment roll $295,000. Total assessment per square foot $373.89. For the four comparables, they are all in Elm Park neighborhood. They are all one-story single dwelling. Square footage ranges from 780 square feet to 873 square feet. With the exception of comparable 3, they all have full basements. Comparable 3 has full part area basement. They all have basement finish. Yes, comparable 1 and 2 only have one full bath. Comparable 3 and 4 have one full bath and a half bath. And comparable 3 also has a shower. Comparable 1 does not have central air. Comparable 2, 3 and 4 have central air. Only subject property has a fireplace. None of the comparables have fireplace. For the detached structures, we have comparable 1, 3, and 4 with a detached single car garage. Comparable 2 does not have a detached structure. Lot size ranges from 5,085 square feet, from 5,079 square feet to 5,315 square feet. So all of the lot sizes are smaller than subject. For comparable ones, there is also land influence on parking. Time adjusted sale price would range from $288,800 to $305,100. Time adjusted sale price per square foot would range from $341.12 to $391.15. All of the comparables have sold between April 1st, 2014 and April 1st, 2018. Between April 1st, 2016 and April 1st, 2018. The subject property sold for $223,750 in 2016. That was in August 11th of 2016. That's a sale price of subject property at the time, and then since then, subject property has had a major renovation done, and based on the inspection on April 18 of 2019, apparently there was a water damage to the property. So exterior walls were gutted and re-insulated and re-drywalled. Kitchen was fully renovated and electrical already done. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, sir, any questions on the evidence presented by the assessor?
I do. May I clarify something that he said first, or do I, with respect to the electrical, not all the electrical was redone, that's not correct.
Yeah,
So I just want to be clear on it.
okay.
That obviously
You could put it in a
Okay,
question,
okay,
we
fair
were
enough.
aware, but you've done it now, so we got
Okay,
it.
so my question for you, sir, is this, is I'm taking a look at your comparisons, your comparables here. How did you choose those ones? Or why did you choose those ones?
You know what, I'll stop you right there. This is what he's presented as evidence. So, that's what we're dealing with.
Okay, so my next question is this, is a property with, what constitutes a full bath? If it has a shower and a sink and a toilet, or if it has a shower and a sink?
Full bath would be if it has a tub, toilet, and a sink.
Okay, so, because you want, in comparable 3, as I understand, so can you explain to me what, Cameron, I'm confused in terms of how you can have a half bath plus a shower. It would, in my mind, it would occur in the same place.
Well, if a half bath has a shower stall, it would be considered a half bath with a shower. It would not be a full bath because it doesn't have a tub.
Okay, so is the tub the sole determining factor?
For a full bath?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so my comparables then, I'll move to, those are all my questions I have for you.
Okay.
If I can't ask with respect to how they chose the comparables, then that's,
Yeah, no, we're kind of going into hypotheticals there. This is what he's presenting as evidence to defend or revise the assessment. And then you have the opportunity to present yours and
Okay.
say, you know what, I found other comparables, and I believe that the assessment should be.
okay. How do you rate the condition of the property, sir? Or how did Eric rate the condition of the property?
Well, it was renovated, so he looked at it. So it is at this point it is average condition.
Okay, and how would you rate the condition of comparable 3?
Well, let's take a look. I'm not too familiar with its condition. I would, as far as its rating in the system, I do not have that information with me.
But you're using it as a comparable.
Yes.
Okay. How would you rate the condition of comparable 2?
Same as I said, like I did. The information we have is based on the information we have on record about the property. So as far as the condition goes, I cannot tell you right now how it's rated.
He hasn't inspected the comparables. How's that?
Oh, okay. But I'm being taxed on that comparable, right? So then I guess moving on is that I've out provided to the board some other comparables which I believe are more.
Okay, so,
Do we get to ask
yes.
questions?
Sure, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, you're gonna have your opportunity right away. Okay. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
I have a couple of questions. On the subject property, the effective age is 1949, up from obviously 1939. Does that reflect these rentals that were done?
To be honest with you, I don't think they do, but I think but that's what it is right now. Maybe it was prior to, but maybe it is. But to be honest with you, based on the description here, I think the calculation would have been a bit different. But at this point, it is what it is.
Okay, so given it is on record as being 1949, I guess when I look at your comparables, I see comparable 1 and 2 with the time adjusted total sale price being $289.9 and $280.80, and those houses are, roughly the same age, and the assessed value is closer to the comparable 3 and 4, which are showing much newer at 1954 and 1957.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like looking cursory, you've got a value on the roll of $295,000, which seems closer to the time-adjusted sale price of the newer houses versus the older, or some kind of, median mean, some kind of average or something.
I see your point.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious as to what's driving that to be closer to the new houses.
Well, the subject property was built in 1939, so we did have some renovations to that would affect effective age to 1949. Whereas comparable 1 and 2 were built in 1941 respectively, and there is no renovations on record. Same as comparable number 2 was built in 1949.
But the effective age is the same though.
The effective age is
At
the
least
same
on record.
as what it is built to, right?
Yeah.
because effective wage doesn't, represents more or less remaining economic life.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
But is there a rationale that the 2020 roll value 295 is closer to the time adjusted sales of comp 3 and 4 versus comp 1 and 2 rather than some kind of blend or average or whatever?
Well, well, when we look at the overall, right, like comparable one doesn't have central air conditioner, comparable two
Can you speak a little
does.
louder, I'm sorry.
Comparable one does not have central air conditioner on record, comparable two does not have detached car garage. So, those are probably another factor that may affect it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Gisela, any questions?
Yes, I'm just wondering if you inspected the property personally? Is that when those pictures were taken?
No, I personally did not inspect the property. The property was inspected by another person in the department.
Okay, and that's when the pictures were taken? I'm
Yes.
assuming in April of 2018. So you said that there had been major, pardon me, renos as a result of some flooding, or, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I...
Yeah, water damage. That's
Water
what it was.
damage. So can you explain to me again maybe just what the major renos were? You said the exterior walls were gutted?
So basically what happened, I don't mind, was that the roofers let the rain infiltrate the home.
Okay.
Sorry, Arkin, would you mind
Roofers,
speaking?
there was some sort of a roofing job going on, and apparently based on that the rain infiltrated the house. And because of that, exterior walls were gutted and re-insulated and re-drywalled. Kitchen was fully renovated and the electrical all redone. That's per notes.
And what year was that?
Project was completed late 2017.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. So we have the renovations done, took place after the sale in 2016, correct? Any,
Yes.
and was there a permit value assigned to the renovations?
I don't have that information.
We'll ask the homeowner then. Okay, and I have to ask, this house warrants a whole portfolio of pictures. How did that come about? Like what was,
I don't know. It was inspected, so I thought it had pictures, so I thought I'll just bring bring them along, and
Yeah.
actually my intention was to include it with the docket if I can.
okay. But the assessor took the pictures because when he was doing the alteration permit?
When he was doing the inspection.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, just curious. Nice to see. All right, that's all my questions. Okay, sir.
Okay, I mean, if I may just adjust a couple things you said. The inspection was done in April of 2019, not 2018.
Okay.
Okay, maybe it's not relevant, but the information you provided is not correct.
Yeah, I can tell you 2019. If I said
I
18,
met with the gentleman, he showed up in April of 2019.
Yeah, it's dated.
Oh, sorry, you said 2018, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
is,
it said 20.
it is date stamped 20. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
That's the
okay.
current
Okay,
condition.
okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, we did conduct some renovations to bring the property up to code. We had, as a gentleman spoke to, we had a contractor that caused some damage to the property. We had to remove the exterior, the drywall or the plaster on the exterior walls, and then brought the property up to code, at least for electrical on the main floor, as required by the city. So, and then approximately two years later, that was completed in December of 2016. Approximately 2 years later, this gentleman's colleague approached the tenant, asked to view it, made arrangements to do it. With respect to the condition of the property, I'm hard pressed, if we're viewing the picture here of the kitchen, I'm hard pressed to understand how a 15-year-old fridge and a 15-year-old oven constitute a full renovation. That certainly, we have spent about $2,500 on IKEA cabinets. That's certainly, and we have some vinyl flooring from Home Depot. So perhaps that is a renovation, but to that, if we're referring to the next page with the bathroom, this is an original bathroom going back to, I would imagine, 1939. It wasn't in the property 80 years ago, but it's unlikely to have an old tub such as that to be newly installed, as well as that tile. And you can see the vanity as well as the toilet are certainly quite aged as well. The third picture, and I understand this is a little bit difficult to see this one here, you can see the toilet seat. If you're looking at the picture on the left-hand side, you can see the toilet seat right here. This is what they're constituting as a half bathroom, because we have a laundry basin beside it. That I find, quite frankly, as we move the other ones, a little concerning. And moving towards the last two pictures, what we have is we're showing the condition of the detached garage, which I understand from the assessor that there is a value associated with detached garage, based upon what he said with respect to the comparables. You can see the picture, the side picture, with the front picture, you can see it's leaning right to left, if you're looking at it face on. And on the second last picture here, looking on the side, you can see it's a stone foundation, and the bottom right here is collapsing. Burn my finger here. This garage is not being used by any vehicle. It's not habitable, or I shouldn't say habitable, usable space. We just, quite frankly, have had an issue with the neighbor with respect to having access to tear the property, tear it down, and we can't tear it down because it appears that her fence is immediately adjacent to the garage, and we don't want to tear it down without her permission in the event that we damage the fence. But as is right now, it's not used by anyone or anything unless it's a hornet or a wasp. And that's the situation of that. I will say, moving towards the other comparables that I provided to you, one of them, and I have one showing, and I understand now, I didn't realize that I assume 2016, 2017, 2018, up until today. I have one showing on Sunset, which admittedly did transact in November of 2018, so I can, if that's not relevant, I can move past that one.
This one?
That's this one here. Yeah, this transacted in November of 2018.
Okay.
I have the transaction information on the second page, or pardon me, on the third page, the back. Actually, no, sir, it'll be at the far back. That's, but this one here, I believe to be quite comparable to my property, although the kitchen is superior in terms of gas range, newer gas range. They have newer cupboards as well. We have water dispenser, newer appliances throughout. If you're looking at that, this is one street over, or two streets over. It also has two bathrooms, two full bathrooms. You have the main floor bathroom, as well as you have the basement bathroom, both with showers and tubs. So in that one there, going to the point of essentially the other value, that's part of that transacted at $285 per square foot, compared to the value the assessor has placed on mine of $373 per square foot, which is a substantial difference, to say the least. $90 a square foot. Next one, I'll show on 42 Glenlawn. Transacted for $263,500.
Did I miss one on Cunnington?
No, we'll go.
Okay.
We can go. Sorry, we can do Cunnington next. I'm sorry. Cunnington. I look at this, pretty much the same size property as mine. Transacted in February 2017. One street over from mine. Very similar property in terms of the design of the open. You look through the pictures. Open living room, larger and newer kitchen with, you can see marble or quartz countertop. newer space, newer appliances as well. That transacted as well, comparing to the last page on this one for Cunnington, it has a fully operational garage as well as an attached carport. Whereas for us, we have a driveway with a garage that's not being used for anything. This transacted at $302 a square foot. Once again, compared to $373 a square foot, which my property is assessed at. Am I going too quickly?
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
I'm sorry.
That's February 2017, and what was the analysis, or what was selling price?
302 a square foot.
302. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions thus far?
I might as well ask you now, time adjustment warranted for that selling price, because it's a year earlier than the
I ran the numbers according to the Canadian, the CREA, the adjustment between that period of time, and I owned it for across the entire city, was 6.37%.
So I don't mean to interrupt.
No, absolutely.
Would a 5%,
Yeah.
so $15 extra a square foot would be fair? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The two properties on Glenlawn. There's 142 Glenlawn, which I would suggest is certainly comparable. It transacted for just over about $330 a square foot. And this I would suggest is a superior property to mine. Once again, it has 2 full bathrooms. And from a condition perspective, it's new roof is superior in that regard, across from a park. And once again, a fully functional garage, plus a large parking pad. And I do believe, well, I'm not an assessor, I do believe the proximity to a park and a family focused neighborhood is a positive rather than a detraction. And as you'll note on this, it also has space for an eat-in kitchen, whereas our property in question at 33 Elm Park Road, you can certainly eat in it if you're prepared to stand up. And then, similar comments with respect to 49 Glenlawn, about $330 a square foot, larger kitchen, newer bathrooms, and a newer garage with a concrete parking pad. And that's one. And once again, directly across from a park. Moving to the one that we have, that both of us have used as a comparable, 70 Elm Park Road, which is this one, kind of the blue covered here, assessed at $332 per square foot, and has 2 full bathrooms.
It's sold for $332?
It transacted, exactly, sir, transacted on April 12th, 2017 for $332 a square foot. And as I said, the assessors actually use this property as a comparable as well. And much higher than, and still, he still assessed mine, it's substantially higher than this one here. This one here has a garage, as you look through it, has been updated with bathrooms, kitchen, a full or a newer garage with carport and veranda in the rear of the property. So usable for the entire space versus ours is clearly not. It also has in the bathroom, this is the one I was asking about, has 1 full bath, 1 half bath, and 1 shower with tile versus concrete on the floor. So certainly I think there's a value associated with that, having those additional features. And the last one, if I may, is 118 Elm Park Road, which transacted in June of 2017, which is a far superior property to mine. If we look through it, and I think it's important to note that this was sold in the spring, summertime, which generally is when prices would be, I can understand the price would be more depressed in winter. This was sold in the spring, 2 full baths, 4 stair. It has, if we look through it here, you can certainly see they have spent a fair bit of money on the kitchen, opening it up, countertops, open to the living room. They have spent money on the bathroom, the backyard, the garage, and it's really quite interesting that this is conspicuously absent from the comparables that the assessors used, being that it's the same size property and on the same street. And this has been assessed at $300 a square foot. Once again, compared to $373 a square foot for my property.
Okay, so I might as well ask you now, based on comparison. what you-
265.
265, okay, so you're estimating at 265. Could I ask you what that is per square foot?
That works out per square foot to be, bear with me a moment.
Sure.
$335 a square foot. So I'm actually going, sir, you mentioned 5% above, and I've actually gone above that. So,
Okay. Thank you very much for all that. Okay, Mr. Arca, any questions of the appellant?
Yes, just to verify, your property has had substantial renovation in comparison to the other comparables you brought, right? Like you had new insulation, new exterior walls, new drywall, right?
well, sir, first of all, I think substantial is a subjective term, and I'm not sure how you deem my renovations to be, if the comparable I provided is 118 Elm Park Road, I'm not sure how you would suggest that my property with the bathroom has had comparable renovations to this bathroom or this bathroom.
No, he's just asking.
No,
can you
no,
confirm
no,
that
I
renovation?
disagree that that's substantial renovations.
What kind of renovations did your property do?
As I said, we have put in, we spent some money on new kitchen cabinets, and we updated the electrical in the main floor in order to ensure that we conform with the code.
Insulation, drywall?
There is installation drywall. Plaster, though, is a higher value part of the property than drywall anyways. So in that respect, it's depreciation.
Did you install any insulations?
Pardon me, yes.
Did you install new drywall as a part of the insulation?
Yes.
Are you aware of any comparables that you have presented have gone through a re-insulation process of the exterior walls and new drywall and so forth? Or is it just new paint and new interior finish?
Nothing I can speak to. I wouldn't deem a renovation of a kitchen to be, in these other properties, especially 118 Elm Park Road, to be an interior finish. And the cost of the installation was just under $800. So certainly that's not, you can't buy an appliance for $800.
Appliances are not, I guess not part of the, they're not a fixture, they're not touched, right?
So when they constitute the sale price, though, what someone would pay for a property would be based upon an appliance as well.
And then, did you, as a part of that, did you have new flooring?
Pardon me, sir?
Did you have new flooring?
We put in about 60 square feet of vinyl flooring in the kitchen. When the old cabinets were removed, it was they ripped the old vinyl or linoleum, and we had to put in some square stick flooring from Home Depot.
Okay. So when the water damage happened, you kept the original floor?
The hardwood, sir? You're saying, or the vinyl?
Oh, throughout the house?
Yeah, the hardwoods remain the same. Correct. Nothing's been done to it.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Gisela, any questions?
Yes, I just want to make sure that I understand this. I'm looking at the front page of the assessor's presentation, and it says that your address is 22 Ambrose Lane.
Yes, the property in question is a rental property.
Okay, so can you tell me how much you're renting the property out for?
$1,500 a month.
1,500?
Yes, plus utilities.
Plus utilities. So you maintained some water damage. Am I correct in assuming you were getting the roof redone?
Yes,
when that
we had
happened?
the roof, we hired a contractor to replace the roof. They stripped the roof, went for lunch in a court.
Okay,
And of course, that buildings of that era, they have slab roofing, so the water came in.
so you purchased the property in 2016?
That's correct, yes.
Is that
Yep.
for $223,750?
That sounds right, yes.
And then you did you redid the roof in 2017?
No, we redid the roof about a week after.
Oh, a week
we took
after you
possession.
purchased the
Yes.
property? Okay. And then the damage occurred as a result of the rainstorm?
That's correct, yes.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
that's really unfortunate. Now, can you tell me what the value of the renovations was?
We spent just under $20,000.
$20,000. Hopefully that was covered by insurance.
It went on it was finally resolved this past April. We ended up taking them to court.
Okay. And so you say that an inspection occurred in 2019 of your property?
Yes, we pulled permits to make sure we're in compliance. Then in April this past year, March or April this past year, gentleman's colleague approached the tenant, asked for access. I met with him to view it, and that's when they completed the inspection.
Okay. And I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Gisela. Okay, so we've got a purchase price 2016 of approximately $224,000.
Yes.
New roof after the sale, how much was that roof?
We paid $3,000 for it.
Only $3,000 to put the whole roof on?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was, essentially, I had a crew do it. I have a colleague or a friend that owns a roofing company, so I bought all the product directly through his account.
okay. And then, as a result of the water damage, was the whole main floor exterior wall gutted from the inside?
Yes, it was.
Okay, the whole main floor?
Well,
Okay.
to be clear, probably about 90%. That's,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and they removed it, rewired it while it was open stud, re-insulated it to code, I guess, for the
Yeah,
wiring?
yes.
Yeah, and new electrical panel, 200 amps?
No, there's no new panel.
Okay,
Just all they did, and I'm sorry, I just have to extend my part. All they did is they
no, you go ahead and
I'm
extend.
not trying to be rude. They-
No, you're okay, don't continue.
All they did is on the main floor, there weren't any grounds. So because we want to do it properly and pull the permits,
Yeah, of course.
we wanted to ensure that there were grounds on the main floor. And we left the basement alone because quite frankly, as soon as you start opening something up, my fear was, and we were gonna be compensated for this, once you start opening it up,
Yeah.
what are you gonna find?
Okay, so then did you get your parking?
I'm doing that.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Sorry.
I'll give you a minute here, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, it's just loading, so.
Okay. So, and then they re-insulated, rewired, upgraded to code, and then they re-drywalled and
That's correct.
taped and redecorated.
The exterior walls, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, any windows done or anything like that?
We put in 2 new windows.
Okay.
One of it was part of it had dropped, it suffered from the penetration of the moisture. I guess the seal had been probably damaged before, and the water seeped through.
Okay,
So,
so you say you spent about 20,000 plus the roof.
Exactly.
Roof value would be, okay, so let's say
25, I'd probably say, yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And you're asking us to revise it to
265.
265,000, okay. Okay. All right. Mr. Arca, any requirement for summary? Okay, and sir, I think you've got your
Okay.
picture of what's going on here. Leave it with us, and you'll hear from us as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, appreciate
Okay,
it.
well, thank you for your time. Thanks for being patient. Good docket. Braid on Poplarwood Avenue.
I've been here since 5 a.m. now.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'll go through it, but.
Yeah, no.
Hey, you know the process, right?
I do. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
bye-bye. Except now you're sitting at the table.
Yes.
Will you swear in this afternoon? Please state your name.
Danny Luca.
Do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Do you have anything to dispute the panelists?
Oh, yeah.
What's your name?
I was mentioning to you earlier that, 5,
25.
is
4, there's
that 5?
5. Do you want to present?
Okay, so we are
So
in
this one.
number 13.
So my daughter was unexpectedly called to work, sends her apologies, phoned me last night to attend. And of course, I had no preparation, very little at that time. Basically what I've sent is, assessment is based on market value, correct?
Correct?
And market value is based on sales, correct?
You know what, we're gonna have the assessor present.
Oh, okay, I'm
evidence.
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
It's the opposite to what we used to do back home. I think.
Yeah.
So I keep referring to back
The,
home.
the problem we have with that is the agent or an inexperienced homeowner doesn't know how to introduce the property, address, roll number and all, you know what I'm saying, yeah.
All right.
They just go straight to the point of the problems, right?
In our case, everything is sent in beforehand.
Yeah.
You receive the package.
Okay, Mr. Arca.
Alright, subject property, parcel ID 0800263600, 30 Poplarwood Avenue in St. George neighborhood is a 1.5-story single dwelling, 1954 year build, 1964 effective age, 1,162 square feet, full basement and the basement finish, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom and a shower, central air conditioner and detached multi-car garage, 4,914 square feet of lot size, 2020 assessment is $313,000, total assessment per square foot $269.36. Okay, so for the 4 comparables, they are all 1.5-story single buildings, they are all located in St. George neighborhood. Effective age ranges from 1950 to 1971, year build ranges from 1933 to 1951. Comparable 3 does not have basement finish, every other comparable has a basement finish. Comparable 3 also has a part basement, other comparables have full basements. For the bathroom count, it's pretty much, the comparable 2 has similar subject, comparable 1 has only full bath and a half bath, comparable 3 only has 2 half baths and 1 shower, and comparable 4 only has only 1 bath. They all have central air conditioners. So comparable 4 has no detached garage, comparable 3 has detached multi-car garage, and comparable 1 and 2 have detached single-car garages. Lot sizes range from 4,482 square feet to 10,730 square feet. No land influences except for comparable 3 where it has light traffic. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $258,000 to $100 to $231,000 to $100. Time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges from $230.45 to $324.30. All sales have been between April 1st, 2016 and April 1st, 2018. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Braid, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No. Okay. Other than, I'll go with some comparables. Can I do that?
Pardon me?
Like, I question these comparables.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Any questions? Yeah.
In my experience, we try to encourage the assessor to find properties as close as possible to the subject property. He's found one on Berrydale, and it happens to be exactly almost 3 times the size of the property, land area. So I really think that that is not comparable. I found a couple on Poplarwood. It was, and I know I'm out just outside the
Yeah, well, we'll look at your
Untitled,
evidence right
yeah.
away, yeah.
Okay. 31 Poplarwood, right across the street.
But let's just deal with his evidence.
Oh, all right, all
For
right.
now, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Well, you'll have opportunity to do your presentation right away, yeah.
I'm just questioning the areas that he is
Okay.
found comparable. He's 5-6 blocks away, and there's several on Poplarwood, several on Portland, which is around the corner.
Okay,
So that's just.
yeah, we'll see.
And this is the argument I've always had with assessors is, why not choose areas or houses that are as close as possible, but then he has his own.
Yeah,
I guess, to be honest with you, why did I do try to stay as close as possible to subject property. I cannot tell you whether, maybe when you introduce your evidence, there will be some more light in why those popular properties I did not choose. But usually I just go with, as well as neighborhood as a building type and the square footage, try to stay as close as possible to subject. Perhaps that was the criteria where those four just were selected in the search, but yeah, so that's
Okay, fair enough.
my quick explanation.
he stayed in the
Fair
same
enough.
he stayed in the same neighborhood. You're right?
He did.
Yeah,
You see, in Gimli, it's right across the entire town, so that would be our whole town. So.
yeah.
Anyways,
Okay, so we're gonna have,
I guess the question here is,
any other questions? No, okay, we're gonna have the panel ask the assessor now. Lori, any questions?
Was there a recent inspection of the interior?
I don't think so. No, there wasn't.
Okay, and what is the condition recorded as?
Average.
And are the
So-
comps recorded average as well?
Cannot speak to the comps. I don't have that information with me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Gisella?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay.
I have one more question. What does effective age mean? I'm not familiar with this.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Mr. Arca?
Okay, effective age. If property has had some sort of renovation or even substantial renovation, or that would affect the age of the property, where basically what it means is depreciation of the house. Usually they look at 100 years, right? So if things are done to improve the house at the extent it's like beyond that range, that's no.
Okay.
It's a blend of new and old, so it makes it a little bit more modern compared to the original.
This whole area is pre-war area, 1950s. If you go down Poplarwood,
Yeah, but
pretty
that was-
much every house looks identical to me.
Okay, do I have any questions? So we've got a 2019 sale blanked out because it's
Yeah.
post-reference.
Give you a
Okay.
copy of it.
Okay, we'll see, yeah, okay. And comparables, no, I'm good, okay. Did I ask you?
You did, but I just, something else just
Oh, sure, of course.
to me. I'm wondering if I could ask one more question.
course.
And that is, I don't see for the exhibits filed that this gentleman has authorization to represent his daughter. but
That's
I'm
correct. He
I'm
arrived with
assuming you have
authorization for it.
received that?
Yep.
Okay.
He
I
arrived.
wish I
We just
didn't.
have to-
I had to get up at 5 this morning to be here, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Duties of a father.
Yeah, what we do for our kids. Can you relate?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought. Do you want me to continue?
Yes, please, now, it's your turn,
I
sir.
just found a couple like 31 Portland is across the street, and that's sold for $236.
Now, do we have, did you submit?
No, I didn't, you know what, I didn't have time because I found out late last night that,
Yeah,
and all
okay.
she did was hand this to me, so.
Okay, so we've got, maybe you could go through slowly an address, a house style, and the year that it's sold.
Yeah, I have
I don't know if
the,
you've analyzed
I
it.
have the year it's sold and I have the amount here.
Okay, it should say the house style, I think. Maybe not, is that off the city Winnipeg listing? That's the sales book, it looks like.
It is, what does OS mean? What does OS mean?
One story.
One story,
OS?
yeah.
Okay. Is there much of a difference in value between a 1.5 story and a 1 story, depending on square footage? If I buy a bungalow that's 1,000 square feet, or if I buy a story and a half that equals 1,000 square feet, the sales will be very, very comparable, I would think.
I would actually, like as I said before, I think bungalows tend to be a bit more popular because they do not have a staircase.
It's what?
Bungalows tend to be a bit more popular because
So
overall they would have more footprint.
Okay, worth more, you mean? Worth more money usually on the sale?
That would be more popular than 1.5 story.
That adds fuel to my argument here. These are single story and they're selling for a whole lot less than what we paid for the story and a half. And I would think that the value of a sale, and it's arm's length, by the way, this is a total stranger, I don't know who the seller was.
Okay, so,
Sold for $274.
so Mr. Brady, it looks like your daughter did submit an evidence here, right? Am I-
I'm Dan, we prep it by the way now. I don't
Yeah,
know.
do you have all this?
He brought that up.
Yeah, what,
Okay,
you mean, what are you referring to?
like this,
Receipt?
this package here, this.
Oh, that's what was sent to her by you.
Yeah, but there's all this other papers that are submitted in this package.
It's the sale information.
Yeah, just the sale information, that's all.
Okay.
That's all there is.
Okay, so if you're gonna refer to that, I didn't realize we had this,
Yeah.
okay?
The offer to purchase is there, and what she actually paid for the residence. And so, my argument is that she paid $274, and it's even worth less than a bungalow. And 31 Poplar was sold for $236 in 2017.
Okay, let's go
That's a
slower
problem,
here.
yeah,
So
that's-
she bought it post-reference in
Yeah, sorry about
March
that.
2019.
Yes,
Okay, okay,
okay, but 31 Poplarwood,
31.
right across the street, she's at 30,
Okay,
sold for $236 in 2017, and it's a one-story.
and how big is it?
Don't know, it doesn't say here. I mean, I just looked at it and I drove, when she bought this place, I drove down Poplarwood, holy mackerel, they all look the same to me, really, within. I think there was probably a standard of construction back in that day, and they were pretty much built the same,
Okay.
in my
And what is the other address?
14 Poplarwood in 2017 for $245. I think she overpaid, to be honest with you. Then right around the corner is Portland, and it's like hop, skip, and a jump away. 66 Portland was sold for $242 in 2016. So I just feel that with her paying $274, that the assessment of $313 is $40,000 beyond her what she paid for. And at arm's length too, it's not like a cousin or an aunt or an uncle or.
So you're asking us to revise the assessment down to,
Use your good judgment.
no.
I mean, that's what she paid for,
Twenty.
$274. I mean, what she paid for.
Okay.
And you know, like, I heard you say earlier, you don't compare assessments.
Well,
I don't, you know what, I can't understand that, is that if you and I both bought a home, 1,000 square feet, and we both paid $200,000, and my assessment was $230, and yours was $190, that's my argument. I'm comparing assessments. Yours is assessed, we paid the same sale, all the information's the same, but you paid, your assessment is $30,000 less, so that's why.
okay,
How
for
can we compare them?
for argument's sake, there's negotiating skills, there's personal circumstance. One might have been a divorce, for instance, one wasn't, for instance.
Okay.
Or if you went into River Heights and went 3 blocks, and there was, everybody got a real estate appraisal for those similar homes, they would all be different. There wouldn't be, depending on upgrades or structural problems or that kind of thing. So that's kind of the same with assessment, it's mass appraisal and based on the latest information and characteristics available,
Understand all that. I do.
yeah.
So you're just saying assessment just an arbitrary number then?
Well, it's an opinion of value.
It's
Right,
gotta be
based
fair,
on,
it's gotta be fair and equitable.
yeah, okay, fair enough, but yeah, I know.
But it isn't if you and I are both assessed differently on the same home saying, well
Well,
anyways, listen,
yeah.
that's not your mandate. I know.
But you know as well as me, that you see a house and you say, well, it's got a double detached garage and he's assessed for less than me. Well, it turns out the garage isn't assessed for. Turns out central
Yeah,
isn't
I know.
assessed for. Turns out basement finish and washroom isn't assessed for, right?
Well, hopefully.
So you assume that it's
Yeah.
equal, but it isn't, right, you know?
And I know you don't have an easy job. I sat there 22 years. It's not
Yeah.
easy. Nor is your job easy. I taught school for 36 years, and I wouldn't have your job for anything.
Well, we base it on the information we get presented to us,
Yeah.
simple as that.
Anyways,
Okay, so you're asking for 274. All right,
whatever you decide. I know it's not easy. Thank you so much.
Oh, no,
And
thank you
I'm
for
into
your
your lunch
time.
hour, so I don't want to.
yeah, I think we're gonna,
We talked earlier, I think, the lady at the end. In our boards back home, we had a time limit. That people would have to submit everything in writing, and we had a time limit. That person was an hour and a half. Must have driven you crazy.
what's that?
I said, when I sat on the board back home,
Oh,
we had a time limit for applicants.
oh, yeah, yeah.
They would have to submit everything they wanted to present in writing, and then if they had something additional, I'm not gonna be a real for you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time,
Thank
folks.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I was thinking if we just go through the rest of them, which one? Okay.
We're gonna recess for, I've got 12:17, so how about till 12:25?
Okay.
Thanks, Kara.
It's so much easier.
Okay, I'll now call the hearing back to order. And Mr. Arca, we're dealing with 101 Lawndale
These people
Avenue.
need to be sworn.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Same thought.
Yeah,
Will you swear on the Bible this afternoon or affirm without? I will. Please stand. Please state your name.
Lisa Bako.
Lisa.
Lisa Bako.
Do you go by another name?
Janet Lisa Bako.
Thank you. Okay. Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You'll be speaking as well?
Yep.
Swear on the Bible?
swear.
Please state your name.
Gary Baker.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Do you have anything to distribute this afternoon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I think I gave you my last one, sorry.
Oh.
I didn't make enough copies, I guess, thank you. I only had 4.
Just,
And I'll be right on it.
okay.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Bako. Your 9 a.m. appointment is started now.
It's now on.
Okay, 101 Lawndale Avenue, we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. Mr. Arca, when you are ready, please.
Okay, subject property, parcel ID 060901 52000, 101 Lawndale Avenue in Norwood West neighborhood. It's a 2-story single dwelling, 1948 year built, 1968 effective age, 1,344 square feet of living area. Full basement with a basement finish, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom and a shower, central air conditioner, no fireplace, and detached multi-car garage. 5,998 square feet for lot size, back lane as an influence, 2020 assessment $417,000. Total assessment per square foot $310.27. For the 4 comparables, they're all in the same neighborhood as subject property, which is Norwood West. They're all 2-story single dwelling. They all have basement finish. Comparable 2, 3, and 4 have full basement. Comparable 1 has full part area basement. Year build ranges from 1914 to 1948. Effective year build, effective age ranges from 1959 to 1978. All have detached, all have central air conditioners. Comparable 2 has fireplace. Other comparables do not have fireplaces. As far as the garages goes, comparable 1 has detached single car garage. Comparable 2, 3, and 4 have detached multi-car garage. Lot size ranges from 1,151 square feet to 6,596 square feet. Comparable 1 has backline influence, comparable 2 has school influence, comparable 3 has a park Red River influence in the school, and comparable 4 has no influences. Average adjusted sale price would range from $368,700 to $495,400. Price per square foot time adjusted would range from $274.13 to $374.74. All properties have sold between April 1st, 2016 to April 1st, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rarica. Okay, I think, have you had time to look at the assessor's brief?
Yes.
Okay, do you have any questions on the evidence that the assessor presented so far?
We were questioning comparable 3
Okay,
because that is a property on the
maybe,
river.
can you put it in the form of a question? Were you aware?
Oh,
How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, were you aware the comparable 3 for 11 Window Drive is actually facing the river, and it's quite a different property? Would you not think that the property on that street is more valuable than a lot of similar size, which is in the middle of the neighborhood?
I would agree that comparable number 3 is more desirable because of its location within the neighborhood. It's fronted Windale Avenue, Windale Drive, and hence having adjacent influence of a river, and the park would make it a bit more desirable than any other properties that are deeper within the neighborhood.
No other questions about those?
Okay, thank you. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
I have a question on the brief you provided under the subject sale history.
Yes.
In 2004, it shows a sale value of $194,900.
Yes.
Is something influencing that? Like those are correct, right? They're in the 190s and 2003. Well, it was a long time ago, but nevertheless.
As far as what would be influences? Absolutely influences the sale in 2004?
No, sorry. I'm looking at the 2020 assessed value is $417,000, and
I
the
see.
sale in 2004 was $194,900. I realize that that's over 10 years ago, but still was wondering, is that the correct number?
Well, I would assume that the number is correct. I do not have any information as to the condition of the sale back in 2004.
So you don't know if it's an arm's length sale or?
I do not have
Okay.
any of that information.
All right.
Can we answer the question, or is this, you're not allowed to talk about it?
We'll ask you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, it's our first time.
No problem.
Okay.
Anything else, Lori?
No, thank you.
Okay,
Actually, yeah. I did find an MLS listing
Oh,
for
thank
that goes back to 2003. If you want me to provide more answer to your question, I may.
Sure.
It's on 2003. It was sold to.
Arca, would you mind speaking?
Oh yeah,
please?
in July of 2003, subject property was sold for $195,000 and $195,385 with 2 days on the market. Basically, the remarks there say that totally upgraded 1,344 square foot, 3-bedroom home, award-winning kitchen, patio doors from the dining room to screen deck, 2 bathrooms, great recreational room, beautiful lot, double garage. So that's the information we have about it. So that's what it was listed on MLS with a 2 days exposure to the market.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Gisela, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay. Any comments, Mr. Arca, on the age variant that was placed on the property? Was it possibly done at that sales truck at that time, or any more recent inspections?
sure, it may have been done based on inquiry done by the property owner back in 2013.
2013?
Yeah, property owner contacted the department. I'm not sure if the H variant was added at that time or not, but there was an inquiry done by the property owner back in 2013.
And there was a physical inspection done at that time, or?
I don't think there was one.
Okay, we'll find out from the homeowner. All right. So do you, in regards to the question from comp number 3 about the Lindale Drive, Red River influence, I guess we're facing the river across the road. Parkland along the edge, riverbank, I guess. So it sells for $375 a square foot approximately. And the reconciliation is that the assessment is only at a 310 because of the perceived inferior location compared to the subject? Is that the way?
Okay, 310 per square foot, you mean, okay.
Yeah.
Well, other comparables also, right, like when we look at comparable, two comparable one, right, they have sold for 447 and 470 respectively, with a price per square foot without time adjustment ranging at 314 and 335.
Okay, thank you very much. Should we open that door again?
Does that help, or I don't
Yeah,
know?
it does.
I feel like I'm sitting like in the sun here a little bit. You are.
Yeah, I think we get a little here, hopefully it's
Okay.
not too.
Okay.
Thanks, Arca. Thank you. Okay, so that's all my questions. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Bako, I'm not sure who's speaking, but when you are ready, please. So we've got your presentation here, so go ahead.
Okay, so as I said, we've never done this before, so we didn't know what it was like. But what we did when we got our assessment was we just went on your website, on the City of Winnipeg website, and looked at all the properties similar to ours that sold in the last 2 years, because there was a link there, and then we put it in a spreadsheet. So we basically just said, what property sold,
Sorry, I forgot to clear it off.
what property sold in the last 2 years that were within 20% of the square footage of our property and a 2-story house. So we put it in the spreadsheet, and we kind of said to ourselves, okay, well, it just seems we did the averages, and we sort of just thought, you know, we did buy the house 15 years ago for 190, whatever, 194, whatever, and we were just like, wow, how could our house be worth for, you know, we don't want it to be assessed higher than what we think we could sell it for. So we did this little assessment ourselves, and this is what I'm showing you. And we just sort of felt like when we got here today and we saw this comparable, you know, all the properties are on here as well, except we didn't include the one on Lindale Drive because it was a river property, so we just didn't think that was a fair comparison. So when we see the properties that the assessor has for 1, 2, and 4, we have those properties on ours as well, and those, as you can see, are all the higher ones. You know, we've got other ones on there that are bringing it down, I guess, because we didn't feel like, I don't know, you know, what criteria they used to choose these comparables. I guess we used a bigger net when we were looking, you know, so we kind of came up with, you know, that we thought that 417 was too high. In fact, we were sort of kicking ourselves, why didn't we fight some of the assessments in the past? Because we've kind of let it go up from when we bought it 15 years ago. And now we're in a point where, wow, like this just seems like it's way too much compared to what's going on in our area. So that's sort of what we did. The other thing we wanted to mention is our next door neighbor at 97 Lawndale is, I would say, we do a lot of walking. We have a dog in our neighborhood, so we see lots of homes. I would say it is the most derelict home in Norwood Flats. It's, the city's been out a number of times. The lady's kind of a trash collector, and the house is falling apart. So we just feel that that's really kind of lowering our property value, living next door to basically a yard that's completely a disaster, and they've already given her quite a few citations, and she's had to do some upgrades, but it's really bad. So we sort of felt that's sort of a factor as well. else you
Well,
want?
the only thing I could add to what Lisa's already said is, I think the comparable properties that were selected should maybe have been expanded a little bit more, like we did. We included 10 properties versus 3 that are only really applicable here. So the 3 that are selected here kind of made a skew or maybe overvalue the per square footage cost. So that would be the only thing that I would have to add to that.
Yeah, the format here is provide 4 comparables
Yeah.
for the Board of Revision.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you bring your own. Now, we weigh the evidence, right?
The only other thing I wanted to add, sorry to interrupt, is like this whole fireplace thing, I don't know how much that has an impact on the asset, but we did add a fireplace since we purchased the home. So it's showing here we have no fireplace. I just want to be honest about that. We have a fireplace. I don't know, wasn't built with the home. We have since added it.
It's a gas fireplace
Yeah.
on the wood, so I'm not sure what
Yeah.
the criteria
Yeah.
is for.
But
The
we do
assessor
have-
has the model values that he can provide us with a guesstimate of how much, I'll say it this way, you're under assessed for not being assessed for a fireplace, but
Oh, okay.
what would it be, Arkin? Sorry, would we say $2,000?
I would say about probably anywhere around $5,000 range, maybe.
$5,000 for a fireplace?
It's a guesstimate at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to be honest. We do
Okay.
have a fireplace, so your records aren't completely accurate.
How much did it cost to install one?
What's that?
How much did it cost to install one?
Well, it wasn't $5,000, no, and we had to have the gas people come out and, because we didn't have a gas line, and so I thought maybe that would all just hook in, like, I didn't know we had to kind of report it, like, I thought the city knew because they had to come out and inspect the line and everything else, so.
So it cost about $3,000?
I would say maybe more around 3, I can't even remember, it was maybe like
Yeah,
8
it
or
wasn't
9
that soon.
years ago, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
But the assessor was correct when we did buy the house. It was
There was-
mainly upgraded. A lot of it was
Yeah.
upgraded already, so.
Yeah. Lots of renovations when we purchased it.
Yeah, okay. So I'll ask you now, what do you think the assessment should be, based on your analysis?
Well, if you look at our spreadsheet, like,
Okay.
I don't know, we did put on there, calculation based on the average value per square foot and the number of square feet we have. On ours, it looked like we're actually already over assessed at 385, but I would say that I do think our house is a little bit nicer than average. So to say, well, we should be paying the average of what we thought, I don't know, but I'm not, I also don't think that, the 8% increase that was put in this year is, I think is too high.
Okay.
So maybe somewhere,
I'm putting you on the spot here, if you wanna
okay,
think about it for a minute. and
Okay.
We'll come back to you, okay?
okay.
Okay. Arca, do you have any questions of the appellants?
Actually, probably no, I don't think. The information was presented, so just probably one more question. Besides fireplace, since you purchased, did you or you didn't do any kind of renovations to your house?
We did, the house has or when we purchased it, it was extensively renovated, but the back of the house has an attached sunroom, like just a
Okay.
screened-in sunroom. And we did have to renovate that because it was falling, the floor was falling and the screens were, so we have fixed that up.
Okay.
It's still like a screened sunroom.
Okay.
But it has like glass windows, right? Because I have, what I have is open veranda on record, probably that's what you refer to as a sunroom.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
it's just
glass
screen-
windows,
just
it's
screens.
the screens with like, it has like a plastic,
Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense, okay.
So it's not heated, so
No,
we
or
consider it to be
insulated,
like
yeah.
a spring and summer.
Yeah,
Screen veranda.
yeah,
how's that?
screen veranda,
Yeah, there we go.
we call it a sunroom, yeah.
Makes sense. No, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Arca. Okay. Lori, any questions?
I just actually have a quick question for the assessor. What was the average increase in the market area
Market area, that would be, so I guess 5.79%.
We don't have it for the neighborhood, right, just for the market?
Just for the overall market area, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gisela?
Yes, I just want to make sure I understand the chart that you have provided here. So the 385 was the 2018 assessed value of your home?
That's right.
Okay. And the 2020 is 417?
Right.
All right, and then in terms of these, I know that you have some of the same comparators that the assessor has.
Yes.
And I'm wondering about 19 Larchwood was one you've got as well?
Yeah, the ones with the stars are the ones that are on the one we received when we walked in today.
Right.
So the three that I have those stars beside are the ones that are on this sheet.
Right.
So, yeah.
So in terms of a couple of these properties, like for example, 19 Larchwood Place, it sold for $447 in August 2017. I guess that's the most recent sale in your area.
Okay, this yeah, we had actually that it sold for $455, so I don't know what
Well,
happened there.
$455 is the time adjusted sale
Oh, I
price.
see, oh, okay,
But it
sorry
looks
about
like
that.
it sold in August
Okay.
2017 for $447.
Okay,
And I'm just wondering, you said that you thought that your home was maybe a little nicer than some on your street and some in your area. What do you think the difference would be between that home, which is the most recent sale,
okay,
that we have knowledge of? I mean, I'm sure there's more
Yeah.
recent ones. They may not fall within
Yeah.
what we can look at.
My-
And your home.
My comment regarding that is it's hard to know what someone else's home is like because we're not inside the home. So the only thing that Lisa and I did was to find
what, or I see.
properties that sold recently and had around the same square footages, same land area, and were built around the same age, same number of rooms.
Yeah.
That was our only criteria. We
And-
don't know if they're nicer or not, they could be. Ours was when we bought ours, it was upgraded in 19, or when we bought it in 2004.
Yeah.
So that's 15 years.
I guess what I was thinking when I initially looked at my sheet before I came here and saw this sheet, is I was thinking that those two properties, Larchwood and 37 Lawndale,
Right.
were kind of outliers. Like I kind of thought when I look at all the other properties, like those are the two highest over assessed value sales, so, and the two highest sales, so I kind of thought when you look out of 10, there's two that are really high and those are down, and, but there's 8 that are lower. So I guess I just kind of thought, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying, is if you're saying ours is worth 417 and theirs is worth 440, and it's big, virtually the same house, and if it's nice, but yeah, I guess, I don't know, I wasn't thinking about it like that, I guess.
Okay, all right, those are all my questions, thank you.
Thanks, Gisela. Okay, yeah, kind of to follow up on that. So the assessor's coming in with 4, and they've all got age variance on them. Comp number 4 looks like a bit of an oddball when you look at the selling price at $275 for an age varied house compared to the other 3 that have age variance that are selling between $321 and $374, $375, okay? So then when I go to your comps, we've got 10 here, but again, we've got outliers at the bottom and the
Yes.
top, you know?
Yeah.
So my question to you would be, so you average it out, and I think these sale prices reflect different renovated conditions probably,
Yeah.
and possibly a couple, maybe a structural one is a problem in here possibly, because they're on the low side, one of them at 291, 301, anyway. So the average is 279, and I think, did you use that to come up with your proposed value at 279
Yeah,
square
we
foot?
used the assessed value
Yeah,
per square
we
footage,
used-
used
yeah.
the assessed value and not the sales, so it's 275 that we used.
Oh, okay.
So 275 times the 1344 square feet. That's how we came up with that,
And did you use 279 per square foot? Sorry.
275.
270, okay.
Which
The
was
assessor.
So would it be
Yeah.
fair, I'll put you on the spot here, would it be fair to say that probably the average, and I'm looking at this average here of 279, might be on the low side for your property in the condition it's in, and that maybe a more accurate reflection of your property with the improvements would be closer to, let's say, $300 a square foot? I'm putting you on the spot here, but, or 290, you know, like
Yeah.
a little bit on, you're above average, how's that?
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I guess we just thought 310 seemed, now I see your analysis, how you got to 310. I couldn't figure out how you got to 310. So, or, you know, so, yeah, but I think you're probably right. It is slightly above average.
okay, so looking at this again, reviewing it, maybe,
Yeah.
would you like to revise your requested value? I'm putting you on the spot here again, but,
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, we didn't really have a requested value. I think
Yeah.
we just kind of figured out what it was based on these averages, so.
But they're asking for us for one now.
okay, I'll put it this
Yeah.
way. Looking at the market evidence, and if
Yeah.
you would have listed your home for sale
Yeah.
April 1st, 2018, what do you think you would have sold your home for? Kind of analyzing these sale prices and, like, do you think you would have got 400,000?
We didn't think that at the
Yeah.
time when we applied for this.
Yeah.
We did not think that.
Because we're looking for the market
Yeah.
value of the property, right? And I think everybody's aware that the property's been updated. It sounds like a nice home,
Yeah.
probably above average in the neighborhood, although a lot of them have been renovated. And the assessor presented 3 that evidently have been renovated, because they sold for, you know, on average, let's say average of $330 a square foot. If we kind of downgrade that one on column number 3, that's on the river too, so it's a premium location, right? But the other 2 are 350, 320, so 330 a square foot. He's assessing it 310, but, yeah. But then you know, you've given us a good sampling here of 10 homes that have sold. But,
Yeah, like, I guess I was thinking, like, we're looking at an 8% increase this
Yeah.
year proposed. I didn't think we could get 400 for our house, but, so we were thinking more like a 2% increase, but I don't know, that's,
okay.
you know, now, you know.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So with that final, what would it be with 2%?
Do you, we're not supposed to know.
I-
Oh, he's got a calculator there.
We are about 393,000
Yeah,
approximately.
so still under
393.
400, yeah.
Yeah,
I just feel like, should it be less than, should you, like, some of the homes did sell for less than assessed value, but I always think you wanna feel like your assessed value is, you wanna be able to get more than the assessed value, or is that not really realistic?
Well, it's mass appraisal, so
Yeah.
they're working towards averages based on their knowledge of the improvements in the home or deficiencies, you know? I mean, you do have that home next to you
That's,
that you
yeah.
explained is quite derelict and,
Well, I think the assessed value for that one was 207, and I know
Yeah.
you're not supposed to compare it, but.
no, there's something going on there. And in all honesty, if you were to list the house today, people might, you know, it might affect, well, probably, it potentially would affect the market value of it.
For me personally, I really stopped doing a lot of landscaping in between our houses, because I just, all the weeds that are coming out, I said, you know what, it's just pointless, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
leave it.
Yeah.
So, for me, that's kind of upsetting, but,
Yeah, I know.
but I would agree with you, and I think Lisa would too, that 275 is probably a little bit low.
Okay.
And maybe,
Need somewhere in
and
between.
because and we do agree that, you know, our house is probably average or above average than all the ones in the sectors.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, leave it with us, we've got all the information. Arca, any requirement for summary, are we good? Yeah, we've got a good picture of what's going on with the home.
What's the next step, like, just?
If you disagree with our decision today, you can proceed within 21 days of receiving the notice that we're gonna send out.
Oh, you
And
sent
can
out a
proceed-
notice,
Yeah,
okay.
you can
Okay.
proceed to the
By
municipal
registered
board.
mail.
Oh, by registered mail, okay, so we'll hear within a week or 2 weeks or a month, I don't know, I'm just wondering.
We try to aim for at least 2 weeks from the hearing date.
Okay.
Sometimes it's faster than that, but
All right.
our workload is very large.
Yeah.
nowadays, so.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thanks for appearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This application, under the it came with a substantial information that was shared with the assessor, so I don't think we need to see that after he presents on it.
Okay, now, Mr. Arca, before you go, we've got quite a few non-appearances to deal with. And I'm gonna get organized here, and we'll start from the top. The first one I'm showing is 463 Langevin Street, file item number 7. And
Has provided an updated brief for that.
okay, updated brief. So we're gonna start with item number 7, 463 Langevin, and we've got a, oh, okay.
Thanks.
So, we're dealing with a 2020 assessment, and Mr. Arca, you revised your brief to reduce the 2020 assessment from $283,000 down to $260,000 to better reflect the physical condition and its effect on the market value.
Correct.
Okay, so would you mind, for the record, reading in the roll number, address, and the reason for your reduction, please?
Subject property parcel ID 0607 06 26000 463 Langevin Street. 2020 assessment roll was $283,000. Property was inspected, and based on the results of the inspection and condition of the property, there was a recommendation to reduce the 2020 assessment roll to $260,000 to better reflect condition and April 1st, 2018. And the property owner, Muki Khair, accepted recommendation by email confirmation on September 17th, 2018.
Okay, so property was inspected and the revision was, a recommendation to reduce was provided to the homeowner and he accepted the recommendation, okay? Revising to $260,000. Got that correct? Any questions of the panel?
No.
Nope.
Okay, thank you. That concludes 463 Langevin Street. Okay, next non-appearance is 180 Sadler Avenue, item number 9. And Mr. Arca, we were dealing with the 2020 realty assessment for 180 Sadler Avenue, and with the non-appearance for the homeowner. Could you go through the information, please?
So, subject property, roll number 0800 3089500, 180 Sadler Street in Waverly neighborhood, is a one-story single dwelling, 1994 year built, same year effective age, 1,036 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 1 full bathroom and a half bathroom and a shower, central AC, no garages, 12,261 square feet of lot size. Okay, total assessment per square foot, okay, so 2020 assessment, $331,000. Total assessment per square foot, $319.50. For the 4 comparables, we are using St. George and Waverly neighborhoods. First 3 comparables are in St. George, and comparable number 4 in Waverly. All one-story single dwellings. Building range, year built range 1954 to 2011. Effective age 1965 to 2011. Living area range from 952 square feet to 1,092 square feet. All have full basement. Comparable to does not have basement finish, everybody else has. All have central air conditioners. Okay, comparable one has detached multi-car garage, comparable 2, 3, and 4 have detached single-car garage. Lot sizes range from 3,814 square feet to 10,648 square feet. Comparable 4 has cool brand influence. Time adjusted sale price range from 284,500 to 349,200. And time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges from $267.39 to $349.79. All properties have, all comparables have sold between April 1st, 2016 and April 1st, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Arka. Any questions from any panel members?
None from me.
Okay, good, okay. That concludes 180 Sadler Avenue. Thank you, Mr. Arka. Next one. 209 Eugenie Street. Again, non-appearance by the appellant. We are dealing with item number 11, and we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. Mr. Arka, when you're ready, please.
The subject property subject property parcel ID 0607 5368000 209 Eugenie Street in Norwood East neighborhood, two-story single dwelling. 1905 year built, same year, effective age 1,387 square feet of living area with full basement, no basement finish. Have bathroom and a shower. No AC, no fireplace, no detached structure. 4,371 square feet of lot size. Commercial adjacent influence. All comparables are in the same neighborhood as subject property, Norwood East, two-story single dwellings. Year build ranges from 1908 to 1912. Same goes for effective age. Living area ranges from 1,085 square feet to 1,347 square feet. All properties have full basements. Comparable 4 has a basement finish. Comparable 4 also has a fireplace, and comparable 2, 3, and 4 have central air conditioning. Comparable 1 and 3 do not have detached structures. Comparable 2 and 4 have detached single car garage. Lot size ranges from 2,253 square feet to 4,073 square feet. Comparable 4 doesn't have any influences. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have, comparable 1 has influence on background, commercial adjacent and external corner. Comparable 2 has bus route, bus stop, external corner, light traffic, school and two-way stop. Comparable 3 has bus route, light traffic and a school. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $198,000 to $239,900. Time adjusted sale price could range from $147.07 to $194.38. All properties have sold between April 1st, 2016 to April 1st, 2018.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the panel?
No.
Thank you. That concludes 209 Eugenie Street. Next one, non-appearance at the hearing today is 187 Braemar Avenue. And we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment, item number 12 on the docket. Mr. Arka, when you're ready, please.
Okay, subject property parcel ID 0608060900. Street address 187 Braemar Avenue in Norwood East neighborhood. One-story single dwelling, 1940 year build, 1955 effective age. 796 square feet of living area with a full basement and a basement finish, one full bathroom and a half bathroom, central air conditioner, and detached single car garage. 5,928 square feet of lot size with a back lane. As a land influence, $281,000 is the assessment for 2020. Total assessment per square foot, $353.02. All of the comparables are in the same neighborhood as subject property. They are all one-story single dwelling. Year build ranges from 1940 to 1945. Effective age ranges from 1940 to 1955. Living area ranges from 704 square feet to 774 square feet. All have full basements, and comparable 1 does not have basement finish. Other comparables have basement finish. All comparable 4 does not have central air conditioners. Other comparables have AC. Comparable 1 has fireplace. Other comparables do not have fireplace. Detached single car garage on comparable 1 and comparable 4, and detached multi-car garage on comparable 2 and 3. Parcel size ranges from 4,197 square feet to 6,362 square feet. Comparable 2 also has commercial adjacent and external corner as a land influence. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $266,200 to $279,300. Time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges from $347.69 to $396.59. All properties have sold between April 1st, 2016 and April 1st, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the panel?
No.
That concludes 187 Braemar. Thank you, Mr. Arca. Next one on the docket for non-appearance is 81 Berrydale Avenue, item number 14. We're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. Mr. Arca, when you're ready, please.
Okay. Subject property roll number 08003003500, 81 Berrydale Street in St. George neighborhood is a 1.5 story single dwelling, 1947 year built, same year effective age, 992 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 1 full bathroom, 1 full bathroom and a shower, no AC, no fireplace, detached single car garage, 9,588 square feet of lot size, light traffic as an influence. $279,000 is assessment for 2020, and $281.25 is assessment per square feet. Okay, all of the comparables are in the same neighborhood as subject property. They're all same building type and building code as subject property. Effective year build ranges from 1933 to 1950. Year build ranges from 1933 to 1950. Effective age ranges from 1942 to 1963. Living area ranges from 700 square feet to 1,120 square feet. Comparable 1 and 3 have part basement. Comparable 2 and 4 have full. Comparable 2 and 3 have part basements. Comparable 1 and 4 have full basements. Comparable 1 and 4 have basement finish. Comparable 2 and 3 do not have basement finish. Central air conditioner, except for comparable number 2. So comparable 1 to detached single car garage, and comparable 4 also detached single car garage, comparable 3 detached multi car garage. Lot sizes ranges from 4,481 square feet to 10,730 square feet. Comparable 3 has a light traffic influence. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $219,100 to $301,600. Time adjusted price per square foot ranges from $221.76 to $368.86. All properties sold between April 1st, 2016 and April 1st, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the panel?
No,
All right, thank you. That concludes 81 Berrydale. Now, the next one is 50 Poplar Wood, and it's a 2020 realty appeal, but I understand there's some evidence that the appellant in their non-appearance did submit quite a sized, is it just one?
There's just one.
Okay, some kind of package here, so,
Arca's seen it though, it was sent over with the
okay,
application.
so Arca's seen it.
Will this be an appraisal of the property?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we're dealing with 50 Poplarwood. I think the panel's gonna review this information. Give us time to review it for a couple minutes,
Okay.
and then we'll proceed.
Do we know why they didn't choose to appear?
Not as yet.
No. When did they drop this off? Is it date stamped?
July, oh no, sorry, June 20th?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, wow. Good.
Yeah, so we'll just review it quickly and,
It was received in our mail on June 20th. Oh, it's an appraisal.
Mr. Arca, 50 Poplar Wood, item number 15, when you're ready, please.
Okay, so subject property, parcel ID 08002638,500, 50 Poplarwood Avenue in St. George neighborhood, is a one-story single dwelling, 1954 year built, 10 year effective age, 968 square feet of living area, 1954 year build, okay, I written that, sorry. Okay, full basement, basement finish, 1 full bathroom, 12 bathroom and a shower, central air conditioner and detached car garage, 4,913 square feet for lot size, 2020 assessment $286,000, assessment per square foot $295.45. Okay, then for the four comparables, we have 0 in St. George neighborhood, 0 on Poplarwood Avenue, 0 one-story single dwellings. They have been built 1954 to 1956. Effective age would be the same. Square foot ranges from 916 square feet to 984 square feet. All have basement finish. All have central air conditioners. Comparable 1 to have detached single car garage. Comparable 3-4 have detached multi-car garage. Lot size ranges from 4,588 square feet to 5,293 square feet. Comparable 3 has a backway influence. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $269,300 to $318,600. Time adjusted sale price per square foot also ranges from $274.39 to $330.02. All properties have been sold between April 1st, 2016 to April 1st, 2018. Okay, so I guess essentially comment a bit on yeah, I'm not sure whether appraisal that was submitted, there are a couple of things. Our question is, why would properties on Havelock be selected when there is more than enough properties on Poplarwood? We'll just take a quick look at it. Let's see. Yeah, and again, larger properties have been used to store the make adjustments like comparable numbers in the appraisal report. So I would say that there's more than enough properties sold with similar square footage. And without appellant present, we don't know the current condition of the property as the report was dated as of February 7th, 2018.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Lori, any questions of these?
No, I have none, thank you.
Okay, Gisela?
No, I haven't.
Okay, did you have any contact with the appellant at all?
I did not have any contact.
Okay, all right. All right, that concludes 50 Poplarwood Avenue. And I believe that concludes our hearing today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.